Okay, tell me that again so we can help our viewing audience.
If I always feel that there's hope, then I can never reach my feet, because hope is like hope. It's always like, it's like an external thing. Now I realize it feels like now it's an external thing, hope. And there's no external solution for an internal problem, like you say. So if I'm constantly externalizing this idea of hope, something's going to come, or then I'm never actually letting the waterfall come down and touching the earth with my mind.
It's good to have great hope to study E equals MC squared. But it's realistic to understand that it's going to take a lot of austerity and effort and facing conflict and question and confusion and puzzling. So great hope does not become an overblooming sunflower where there's no roots. That's what all human beings do. We're addicted to labeling the subject object to external solution for personal problem. Great hope, everything's going to be fine, everything's wonderful, and never acknowledging the dangers that are present and doing the work. So a master of life has what Zen says, great hope, great doubt, both. Don't be so great hope like a new age Fruit Loop that you deny that you are in trouble. You're in trouble right now. And that's why we're on this call. Because I don't want that for you. Why?
It's true, because hope means, to me, when I say hope, is like, it'll be better tomorrow. And then I don't do shit today.
Right. Because you lost, just to, I'm always kind of keep everybody else in my mind too, but hopefully I'm being authentic with you and I'm not just talking to them, but I want people to know you lost a lot of weight, right? And you got all these physical things going on.
Yeah.
Well, how much more weight?
Pounds.
How much more weight can you lose for you're dead?
I don't know, 20 pounds. Maybe. I have no idea, because I don't want to go back down to 110. No.
So the physical world is not what you want to worry about. It's the psychological world. Because psychology has a tremendous ability to influence physiology. So you want to go to the root. You want to go to the source, not the manifested. So there's a catalyst to physical health, like get hungry today and eat a big steak. That's a good thing. And that catalyst is eat some meat. Jesus gave meat to the person, told him, give him some meat. People that are against meat, I don't know. Anyway, to ground yourself and to have drive, not motivation, not inspiration, drive. That means you're hungry and you're horny. Okay. And to turn that drive into action. Now you get the steak and you eat the steak. So it's not cart before the horse. Every university, every business, every family system primarily teaches cart before the horse, and they're all mistaken. You have to teach conversations of value to yourself and to other people, and demand of yourself and others, as far as is reasonable and whenever necessary, to whatever length is necessary, that you will only engage in conversations of value. Now, you're going to develop a hunger in life. You're going to develop a horny in life. In other words, you'll be stimulated. Personal magnetism is not, a phrase. It's a scientific reality. So how are you going to get personal magnetism in your body to activate your metabolism and your immune system? This has to go down there. That's what hunger does. You have to get hungry. So find the earth, because the earth is down there. The head is up here. Everybody's a talking head. We need to have embodiment. And it's impossible. All the greatest teachings, it's like, it's impossible, but you can practice and you can make more progress than you ever dreamed possible. You can change your neurology. You can change your hormones. I did it. I'm a living example of profound change. So you could do it too. Matter of fact, you should be able to do it better than me, because I'm telling you what took me so much hell and so much stuff learned the hard way. but I'm telling you like it's like a piece of food. I just give it to you.
Mm.
And that's the value of learning from other people. That's be the engine of human evolution, is that we learn from others and we take the magnetism they give us and the intelligence. Informational magnetism is in the air, but a head is not totally receptive. It doesn't go down into the body. It just stays in the cortex, because the cortex bounces off the other and bounces off the other and just constantly tries to stay sovereign in itself. You're not sovereign in yourself. The sky, the rain, mentors, so forth. This is how we become more individually sovereign, is that we connect to sources that are ever present. And that's where our lives and deaths must be, if we're people that can see the light.
So
You
is
must
that
stop.
why? Is that why? Because you said the thing about how the cells change and all the body parts grow. I truly
Yeah,
believe that, and yet it doesn't get past here for some reason.
right. Me too. Yeah. So if we accept that the completion delusion is real, that there's not going to be a solution. You're not going to hear a talk or go somewhere or do something or buy a product and now it's all solved like everybody pretends. You actually are a student that needs ongoing education and are going to be constantly proved wrong. Scientifically, the stomach lining changes every 5 days. Can you bring that up and read that list for the universe? For everybody watching?
I know that's why I thought I would be way past this, because this has like been like a 5-month thing. I'm like, wait a minute, my lining should be changed by now if I had any sort of, problems in there.
Yeah,
Yet
well,
here I am.
it's just going to keep starting over though.
Yeah, apparently that's what's happening. Something I
Epigenetic
don't know.
epigenetic influence means that we're in process and we cannot find a conclusion. So the human genome is influenced by our psychological, deep subconscious interpretations, and the skin of the cell talks to the bloodstream by means of the RNA to communicate back to the DNA and say, oh, I have this predisposition for weak digestion. Let's keep it going. So to actually change neurology and change our conscious epigenetic influence, you need to have profound contact. So that could be a person, that could be a memory, a place in nature, but your mind needs to be so saturated, for example, in a beautiful scene in nature, that you go quiet. That's when you start to be able to do, I'm going to use myself for an example. I don't know how good of an example I am, but I changed my eyes, as you've heard many times, 2 times. And the last time I changed my eye prescription, I asked the ophthalmologist when I went to go pass the eye exam. And I asked the ophthalmologist, oh, I need glasses and, I need to get glasses because I can't pass the eye exam. Is there anything this is the second time I healed my eyes. Is there anything to those Heal Your Eyes program? He said, no, that's scientifically impossible. A month later, my eye vision was 20/20. That's a fact. It is not of concern to me who believes me or not. I've eclipsed that world. That, it's not interesting to me. I don't need, they can dismiss me. They can please dismiss me and go away. But in my own personal experience, that's a small example. I've got 100 examples that are more profound than that.
So you didn't
So
do that
you
by
can do it.
focusing? You didn't do that by focusing on your eyes changing,
No,
right?
no, that's your whole problem.
Yes.
That's the world's whole problem. That's the only thing I was ever taught. Focus, get it done, do it, make the money, get going, hurry up. Come on, you got to make sense. Let's go. Hurry up. What are you doing? How's it going? What's good? It's all fantasy world. That's not love. Love, of course, is going to make you focus more than anybody. And a genius is never in a frenetic mess. A genius is never forcing and pushing. That's not how super geniuses roll. Look at the videos of Einstein. He's like, he has not a care in the world because his internal processing speed is extraordinary. That's what I want to learn, not my external focus. That is like drawing a bow and a little bit and shooting an arrow a little bit. No, I want to draw the bow back and develop extraordinary strength in the giant bow and target with laser-like precision and release the bow. Sun Tzu said in war is 99% intel gathering and 1% action. So the world does it the other way. Think of any subject like healing your body as a war. It's a subject, a project, you could call it. You have 99% action and 1% gathering. You have it opposite. So does I myself has it opposite and everybody else. So only if you have something that's on a hand on your head, a kiss on your cheek from a loved one, something, can you calm down and feel safe in your skin again? That life and death is going to happen around here, and you got no power over that. So you may as well relax and enjoy the ride and find yourself. So that's emotional. And in that emotional experience, you have to be exposed. If you're not transparent, you can't accept the people in the air. You can't accept Opie sleeping and neighbors and whatever. You have no inner vision if you have no transparency. So what they talk about as a third eye being open in all the traditions, and the Bible says when your eye is single, your whole body will be filled with light. That's obvious. So much stuff is obvious that has to be taught, but there's so few students. That just simply means if you're transparent and your eye, your inner sight is focused on one thing. How am I going to heal myself? How am I going to heal others? What's enlightenment? Is God real? Is chi real? That should be everybody's questions. Now, chi obviously is magnetic energy, and you know that your heart is a gland and an organ. I can talk science all day. I don't want to talk to other people watching really so much. I'm going to talk to you, so I'm not going to do those raps. But the science is pure and is clear about how magnetism is the health of the body, and how you're able to influence your biomagnetism through mind power alone. So that's a whole inner world. So if you want to talk about focus, then you could talk about inner focus. And we have 7 steps to do that. Don't worry about action. Don't worry about changing your digestive strength and things like that. Worry about falling in love and becoming happy. Worry about soaking up the nature's nourishment. Worry about realizing that Opie's going to be up and about in 10 minutes or however long. And you need to prepare inside yourself for everybody that's in your life. Worry about all that world. And if you do, you bring energy to your body. If I focus on my left hand, magnetic energy builds in my left hand. I can change the magnetic signature of my left hand. I can make more magnetism happen or less magnetism happen. That's a scientific fact. You can change your skin temperature, right? When it's cold, your body warms up, it creates more magnetic energy, it creates more heat. All right, so focus changes physiology. Left hand, right hand, so forth. Now, what's the differences between your left hand and your right hand, between your stomach and your testicles, between your brain and your prostate, between your heart and your backbone? You don't even know those things exist because you're lost out here in a world that doesn't exist. One movie theater light, screen on the movie theater, and you think you're in the movie. When you're in a dream state, you realize truth to see reality. Listen, the problem is no teachers, no teaching. Now, when you reach step 3 in the steps, you can have no teacher, no teaching. But until then, it's a bit difficult to do the New Age Fruit Loop thing of you don't need a teacher and you don't need to teach, stuff like that. I'm saying that to you because that's my problem. That's your problem. No teacher, no teaching. You're not submitted to the sun. The sun is just an M&M to eat, like the star. You're not submitted to the rain and feel it on your skin. It just grows food. There's no sensuality in life. Sensuality is embodiment. Now, if you're boundless in your eyes right now, if you stand outside today for 20 minutes and you practice rooting and standing, just standing there. Now, listen, I do this for 100 hours every day, and that's kind of difficult because there's only 24 hours a day. I submit my weaknesses and my distortions to be penetrated and exposed and preyed on and attacked by reality because everybody's got wearing a mask. So I submit myself to that constantly. Now, when you do that, you should find embodiment. And then you go on to step 2. Step 1, remove the covering. Step 2, slow down. So you have to say, I can't do step one. I can't do step two. Never get to this idea of completion or understanding or uh, being the one in control. Never do that, because you have to blend with life to move and shake with it, to have influence. So if you confess, I have a problem, I'm confused, I need help, now you're getting somewhere.
So that's the solution to this constant, like, projected guarding, where I'm constantly deflecting things or thinking I'm deflecting things, and that's actually making me safe or whatever, but it's not. It's the opposite. Probably causing
Absolutely.
me to be sick.
Absolutely. Well, it's an influence to your own metabolic state, because mind, emotion, mood certainly influences metabolism. Now, action happens on its own. We don't need to talk about action. If a wolf is midstream and it's going to bite a child, a baby in a baby carriage, you'll dive that stiff body over whatever and half break yourself, maybe kill yourself, to grab that wolf. You won't not do it. Very few people would not do it. Well, I don't know how many, but I believe that you would do it. You would put yourself in danger. That's my belief. Okay, so you don't need to worry about action. A Navy SEAL says we don't train speed. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. They don't have to train speed. If you can go carefully with things, like if an action happens and your response dash able, some projection is brought to you and you feel like, oh, you need to deflect it or whatever. But if you're very responsible, then you'll be very careful about your response. And you have more time to be careful about response than you have any idea. Because the subject object shock world that the cortex lives in makes you automatically demonize everybody, automatically be the one that knows everything, automatically defend to be in charge and to dominate. If you ever want to be scared or you ever want to be dominated, go meet a real master of life. So there's no problem with scaring others away or having power to dominate when it comes to enlightenment stuff. But that's not what masters of life talk about, is it? And that's not how they behave mostly, is it? No, they're very careful, like Navy SEAL, very careful to learn about what's this situation going on here. And why am I weak here? Not why did you make me weak? Why am I endangered here? Not why did you endanger me? Why am I offended? Not why did you offend me? The heck with other people and what they do. That has nothing to do with your response. So your response is not some action that you have to focus on. Your response is a matter of 99% acceptance, surrender, understanding where everybody's coming from. Everybody's doing the best they can. Then to defend yourself and to take action, you'll be way above the
Bring me
rest.
down to the ground? Does that bring everything down to the earth?
Absolutely, because you accept it. Because you accept, oh, there's this circumstance here and this person's bothering me, or the world acts in a way I don't understand and I don't like, or, and just accept it. Now, not to the degree of no discernment, because after rooting, which means these ears, these eyes, these noses, they all accept everything that's going on. So the power then goes into your body and you touch the ground. See if you can get a tangible sensation for that, like receiving a hug. If you receive a hug, magnetism goes into your body, scientific fact. And that now your magnetic signature is not only more coherent, but there's more amplitude. The science of enlightenment is irrefutable and clear. And frankly, I don't want to waste my time with it too much here for the other listeners, because I don't know, I'm just busy right now. But the science is very, very irrefutable and clear. And that's not something that needs to be proven when it's already proven. I'll say one reference that the heart has a 40-foot field of magnetic energy. And the most advanced way to diagnose a heart in a hospital is called a magnetocardiograph, and it measures it just like Star Trek, it measures the field. All right, you know all these things and heard these things. But now to get a sense of the entrainment that happens between people because of biomagnetism, if somebody is near you, then that magnetism is something that influences your cell. just like the magnetism in the air because of weather changes influences the cells and the mood and the brain waves and so forth. Okay, so what if all energy is a good thing and just what it's used for is maybe bad or good? So if energy comes at you from a person, if you don't utilize that pure electricity and electromagnetism by accepting it, then you're trying to live in a separate world, and that doesn't help anybody. It creates hell realms. You have to, separate the sinner from the sin, for example. You'll realize that all of life is teaching and guiding and offering and saving and substituting. Everybody's God wearing a mask. It's a very difficult perception to realize because there's all sorts of shock places in your body that are so sensitive and so raw that the second anybody touches them, you automatically are going to react, comment on it, take, anything to create separation because you can't tolerate the invasion. But if you want to be a good healer or a good warrior, either one, you have to accept the energy and information of what's present in your life, namely people, and in the deep subconscious, your family of origin. And accepting that, that's the rooting process because it comes into your body. You can find that by surrender and acceptance and trust and hope and faith and all those things in the proper sense of the word, meaning right here, not in some la la land over there, right here. You accept Opie, you accept the state of your body, you accept what's going on, you accept that you don't know. And if you accept all that energetic informational magnetism, and you'll develop more mass, you'll develop more feeling of solidity.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because I do exactly the opposite. I'll deflect, avoid, or guard. Those are the three mechanisms when I feel something touching some vulnerable spot. The complete opposite of what you just described.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying
so that could be the product.
Accept and then have discernment in there. So discernment is always going to be there. It's not just accepting and getting pulled around by people. Oh yeah, I accept. It's more, listening and learning, and yet there's still a little kernel of discernment that's always there.
The opposites of accepting and receptivity and projection and imposition and staking your claim, standing for something or you'll fall for anything, overprinting, penetrating, all the stuff that you're afraid of that other people do try to do you all the time because everybody's like a mouse hunting for cheese. That's okay too. That's in the bloom, but that happens after the receptivity. So it happens more, you could say soft, but it's actually like ocean or water soft. If you condense it, or if you make the waves wild, it could be the most aggressive thing there is, and most penetrating. So you can't have a configuration of water unless you accept the winds. If you're oceanic in your perception in the environment, and front, back, above, below, in, out, left, right, and you're just paying attention, or you're just present, and you have this faith that it's all for a purpose. Now, when the wind comes, the configuration of response, after the rooting, the bloom happens. But without the rooting, without surrendering to the rooting more, and it does have to be strategic sometimes, like before you meet with people and when you're in an aisle in the store and nobody's there, and you have to kind of watch when you can root. And then blooming is just this one-to-one response of wind to waters. To have influence to deflect and block and deny, that's all can be divine as well, because you need to have your expression as well. You're allowed to live. You're allowed to express yourself. There's plenty of air around here for you. Everybody else is in kind of a for and against about who gets the energy in the field. Well, if you're connected to the sky and the earth and the nature, then you have a container wherein relationship takes place, and you're not as prey predator as everybody else. So your action of discernment, be it a healing action or a grounding action, is more effective. So it's not that the blocking and the everything is wrong or the deflecting is wrong. It's just that it's done without accepting the energy of where that could come from, which is from them. So the energy to defend yourself in life is given in the violation. If you don't feel the violation of the other person's behavior or the other person's taking or whatever's going on, you don't have any energy to defend yourself. And that's what the human being generally does. They just use the cortex and like some kind of a wall that has them keep everybody out and under control. And in that, you're keeping out life and you're robbing yourself of self-reinvention.
Feels like almost mistaking what you just described about this keeping everybody out as blooming, and that's not blooming.
Well, it's a forced blooming, yeah.
Because I'm not grounded.
It's a forced blooming without any water, without any fuel, because the water has to be accepted, felt tangibly before you can spit it back, so to speak. But it should just kind of flow through.
So it's like when you're talking about you don't need to train for speed. It's similar to that.
That's right. Don't be preemptive. Preemptive is only a masterful tool when you have experienced void in yourself. Void overcomes pulse. So everybody is pulse against pulse. If you want to be an influence, which means get power in the field, which means survive, which means facilitate your agenda, which is a good agenda, then be congruent with spiritual values. Realize you can't ever get them all right. Do your best to start over again today from scratch. And now your expression has fuel to it because you've accepted life. When you're in shock, when you're in a nightmare in a prison of your own creation, the only thing you can do is preemptive in the wrong sense, stop everybody else's expression because you don't believe in them. You've given up on people. But that's different than fighting them if you have to fight them. Fighting from discernment is different. It means that you're accepting that life is flowing through the individual, and that as a good parent, now you're going to have to structure some things in their behavior. You're going to have to take control. So that kind of blocking or penetrating is okay. But and then you as a student need to submit yourself to that, to whomever it is that you can find that you feel safe to do that with. And then little by little, the whole world will become like that. It's a mosaic of a transmission, you could say, gearing to evolve the human soul. Greek, human soul, psyche. You don't need to worry about body, circumstance, all that. It's all bullshit. Forget it. You need to worry about your soul, your psyche. That's what you are. That's your only contribution that you're ever going to give to the human genome anyway. That's the only thing you really are. And that is who you are, not what you do. Everybody tells you it's what you do. Doctor tells you it's what you do. They only have value in the manifest, which could be life or death. So it's great value. The external outside in, a catalyst that's necessary in life. But the catalyst is just that, meaning eat this, don't eat that. The catalyst is just a catalyst to make you feel better so that you can face yourself. You don't face every hospital in the doorway when somebody goes in, it should say, face yourself. I think at the entrance of Plato's school or Socrates' school, it said something like that. Anyway, anybody with a challenge, that ought to be the primary thing. And we're all sick. We all have challenges. We all have every mind, body disease there is in some measure. So if you realize that, now there's no difference between you, and you can't create this conversation that you're so unique in that sense. Now, once again, the opposite will become true in the sense that if you accept this kind of teaching, you'll become the most unique person in the world. And
so like when I have the issue with my intestines and my stomach and it's painful, it's a reflection of a spiritual sickness or an emotional sickness. It's not necessarily
only in the absolute world. In the relative world, that's where doctor comes in, and that's where eating this and not eating that, that's all good and valid. So you have to exist in the rules of the illusion that you're bound by. When you are in this absolute sort of world, that's true. But you don't live in the absolute sort of world in your psychology and your body. In your psychology and your body, you've got to play by the rules of the illusion you're bound by. So you take the doctor's advice and you eat this and you don't eat that. That's fine. But what you need to be more concerned with in terms of your action is what can I do with my mind right now to influence my hunger? Because if you imagine, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food, I like burritos.
What?
Mexican food, my
Oh,
favorite.
burrito. I thought you said Doritos. Boy, you
No.
were gonna get it. Okay, burritos. And what's your favorite drink? Cerveza.
My favorite drink. I don't know if I really have a favorite drink.
You like
I like
mango juice?
Like fruit juice is good. Something
All
about a
right.
sweet tooth.
Okay, mango or
Yeah, papaya, mango,
papaya? That's very
pineapple.
Hawaiian-y.
They
Papaya.
call it what they call over here. It's like pog, where it's a combo.
Can you get that today? Can she get that for
Passion
you?
orange guava. Yeah.
Okay, get that please today. All right, now we know that pineapple juice activates digestion. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So get that today. Hope you get that today. Papaya, mango. What's it called? Sounds great.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a version of what they call pog, which is passion orange and guava. Only papaya,
Wow.
mango, and pineapple is my own sort of version.
Wow. Hog and pump. So if you imagine that food, that's very great, right? And a burrito. What's your favorite burrito?
I think it's either I like a chicken burrito, beans and rice, cheese with some pico de gallo in there, salsa. Although I do also like pulled pork as well,
Can you get the pulled pork one today?
like carne asada, whatever it's called. Yeah, very good.
Can you get that today?
Yeah, or fish burrito too. Actually, ahi burrito. We love lots of those because we're in
Which one
Hawaii,
do you
right?
want? What do you want? Right? Which
I
one?
think
Pick
ahi
one.
burrito. Ahi burrito. Yeah.
Ahi burrito. All right. So get that. Now listen. Maybe in playing with these favorite foods, some saliva is secreted. Do you know the part of your digestive fluid comes from your saliva?
Mhm.
That's why you have this mouth-watering experience. A big part of digestive strength is mouth-watering. Now remember, in all the traditions, mouth-watering and mouth tingling, like a sweet kiss or imagining a favorite food, that happens. So if you want to eat more food, you have to get hungry. Now, strictly speaking, no effort is required. All you need to do is feel the need to enjoy the pog and the whatever's in the burrito. You have to be able to extend your attention span away from thought. Silence is mental antiseptic. Embodiment is healing. So feel the earth underneath your feet, stuff like this.
So what I do when the fear comes up of pain from that I get from eating food sometimes.
That's tough stuff.
It's like PTSD.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I don't know other than if you don't eat food, you're going to die. But you don't have to worry about eating food. You have to worry about getting hungry. Okay, write that down. Jesus said, I have food to eat you know not of. So the belly button, the navel, the imagined food, the naturally imagined sex experience with your partner, a new sexual experience like giving each other a bath or something. This creates hungry and horny. Hungry and horny is the key to metabolic activation. When Jesus said, believe on me and from your belly will flow rivers of living water, he wasn't kidding, because you absorb and emit magnetism. That's a scientific reality. You absorb magnetism from the environment, you relate with it, and you emit it. That's why the weather changes our mood. If you put somebody in a field like of 7 hertz magnetism, that helps them to heal, and that helps their brain to become more like creative genius, because that's the kind of magnetism that's present when your body is healing and when your mind is in creative dreaming. So how does that happen? It happens on a vacation, so forth. What else has 7 hertz? Schumann resonance. What's Schumann resonance? The lightning strikes around the world that create the magnetic cavity that's in the environment, along with the magnetism that comes from the Earth's core and from the cosmos. But it's dominated by the lightning strikes. 7 hertz, same for alpha waves, same for creative dreaming, same for body and healing mode. The bones in the body respond to 7 hertz magnetism for healing. If your bone breaks and it doesn't heal and you're in a hospital, they'll put a 7 hertz field of magnetism on the bone. So the world's not going to catch up. The world is not going to become a student of awakening enlightenment. They can't believe in the inner world. Everything is a cookie out there. So it's only a delusional experience of objectified reality. But as far as the teaching existing and the science supporting existing for, what an aura is, what magnetism is, what meditation is, all that, we know that that's the ultimate. It's scientific fact, proof. So how can you change your brain waves? How can you become hungry? Lip smacking, feeling the taste of the guava juice. These can be catalysts. Tickling your navel. Your navel is the place where food comes in. Who said it? Was it Dalai Lama said that, and every tradition is valid, and it's all like a diamond. So if you want to be a student of reality, you need to think for yourself and, study all these things. He said yesterday, he was watching something, that if you're in the Himalayas and it's 40 below zero and all, how could you not pay attention to your navel? You can't survive if you don't. In other words, to get down from your brain into your body, your belly, he just said it like naturally. How could you not become centered? Where's your center of gravity? There. What else is in your belly? 6 layers of muscle and fat. Muscle is positive electricity, fat is negative electricity. That's why everybody talks about that as being the bio battery and the center. Why did Jesus say, believe on me, from your belly will flow rivers of living water? You guys have to catch up and get your homework going and get, I'm doing this every day for 30 years. So a lot of this stuff is like user friendly and it all fits together in a puzzle. So maybe I have more resources to create change than you. I don't know. But my job is not to think that I know anything, My job is to be surrendered that I don't understand, that I have a problem, that I need help. That's my job. So I imagine acupuncture. I imagine lasers healing my body, mind, repairing my brain. Imagination is the workshop of reality. Space shuttle, forest, rocks. They made a space shuttle. So the imagination is how things are catalyzed into feeling. But these different bits, and you could replay this, these different bits of knowledge need to be gone over all the time. I go over it all day and all night, and still I have no idea what I'm doing as far as I'm concerned. But I don't listen to anybody else anymore that says I have no idea anymore. I just either laugh at them if I'm being evil, or I just kind of say, well, whatever, I can move on, So that's my issue is with myself now in life. It's really not with others anymore, because human beings are just not that witty. And somehow I've been lucky enough to at least have the GPS of enlightenment installed into my psyche. So if you can have this GPS to enlightenment, then you have these references. Now, remember the PubMed articles, the most respected medical journal that there is, how they talk about, a person can change their eye prescription. And people with multiple personality disorders, they have different eyeglasses. And many examples. Diseases appear and disappear in other references. It's because of the person's ability to believe they're a different person. Who do you believe you are, Anthony? I don't know who I am. I gave it up. I don't even try anymore when I'm faced with the question. I guess I do out of habit all the time. But when I'm in my little study hall here, teaching or learning myself and my practices, I don't really have a concern about who I am or whether I live or die. It's just not that important. What's more important is the process. And what that does for me is create a tremendous amount of insight and magnetism that allows me to be a bit safer in the world. So that's what you need to do. First, question who you are. and then see those thoughts and find the source of thought, because you say, my mind, my body, my thoughts, my money, my health, my girlfriend, my business, my work, my car, right?
Mhm.
Who is my? Who's the my? You've got me, and then you got an object, my cup, my coffee, my. Give it up. Give up the object of attention and find the source of thought. Find who's the one observing that you are. That's the who you are. And that's enlightenment. And it's not explainable to other people. People don't have the capacity to understand, to even hear this conversation. It'll just blow their mind. So what do you want to do? Do you want to prove yourself to other people, or do you want to be saved? Do you want to find yourself? You're going to have to choose, because that's what life comes down to pretty much. I'm going to be something for her, or for him, or whatever, for the world, because we're all so fragile in our egos. I'm going to be verified. I'm going to be listened to. It's funny to me. I realize that the capacity of people is kind of like a small marmot, and that my obsession with being heard and being valued, it was an impossible proposition. You can't ask to be understood by somebody else. It doesn't work that way. Everybody's trying to figure out life. They're trying to survive, and they're all doing the best they can. For you to make your identity strongly based on being heard or accepted is just the prescription to go to hell, because it can't work that way. You have to slow down, stop, and reverse your search. That's what you have to do. You don't have to be obsessed about whether eating gluten is good for you or not. You can't digest gluten because you don't have any digestive strength, not because of gluten. Figure it out. So either you put the cart before the horse, focus on grooming the horse. Then you might need certain axles and certain wheels and certain carts. Like, I should eat this way, I should behave this way, and those shoulds are really our musts. And yeah, I must not eat gluten right now. I can't eat, it'll kill me. I must not eat a pound of spaghetti right now. There's all kinds of limitations and rules that cause us to stop. But that's the outside world. Get to grace first. Mercy triumphs over justice. Grace is more important than law. Don't use your mind to understand things. Use your heart. In science, the heart is the seat of emotion. In science, not in talk. Because every emotion we have influences the regularity of our pulse. So each pulse, boom, 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 is influenced by each emotion.
Sorry, birds are trying to break in again.
Yeah. That's
See
what
what happened?
happens.
The mosquito came right there.
Really? Yeah. See that? So that's good knowledge to see the relationship, that when you relax, the phone rings. When you gain gravity, other people might become disturbed. So this is a field of psychic magnetism. And we've got to recognize that as we are healing, which means you're grounding yourself, that there's going to be an effect in environment, in the environment of our lives. Too much knowledge is not good.
So it's good to do the practice and develop my own drum beat. That's probably, it sounds like that's the number one goal here, is to establish my own damn drum beat.
Yeah. And a lot of people aren't going to like that. Too bad for them, huh? Because people think that, if you win, then I have to lose. They don't realize that the universe is pretty big around here. And they're stuck in the field of gain and loss in psychic magnetism. There is a gain and loss in between people in any environment. And whoever gets the energy is the one that gets facilitation. So, okay, there's a war between us all in that sense. Okay. But what if we go by the rules? If we go by the rules of the game, then we're two people connected to a third cause: nature, mentors, God. There's a third purpose. And only if you are given permission from yourself to establish your own drumbeat, which is completely alone and separate from other people, can you tolerate the gains and losses between yourself and others? Sometimes they lose, sometimes you lose. But if you are willing to lose in terms of having another issue to focus on inside yourself, then other people can win around you all the time. So when you first start to establish this drumbeat, that's when the bird comes. So there's a one-to-one relationship between gaining ground and being assaulted. That's how life works. You know, a lot of times in recent years, I'm considering it not my responsibility to explain anything to anybody anymore because I'm just too busy. And I just sort of mean the general public in that, because I understand now a lot of things, like that phenomena when you relax, the phone rings. But everybody in the world, they did with me my whole life, is they'll demand that you explain it to them, but they won't allow explanation because they already have their belief set. So you can give your whole life in trying to explain things to people, and you got to let them go. You have to return the world and all people back to themselves. And when that pop happens, when the phone rings and the thing comes, you got to be ready to fight and stand your ground. Why? Because you're establishing more health in your gut. And that's the only way you're going to help her or him. If you're not here and if you don't have health, then you have no contribution to give to anybody anyway. And you know, if you tell the truth, that you have extraordinarily good things to give to people. And you help people's entire lives and things like that. Now, if you're just stuck on a win-lose with people because you're so afraid and you're so greedy and you have to punish yourself from that, and then you have to, then there's no clarity. If people demand a win-lose from you, because almost everybody will say they're more intelligent than you and that you have to follow their path. Well, what I've done is created a path that's centered around your path. If I work for you, then write me on the piece of paper and I follow directions. If I don't, dismiss me. If the Bible works for you, okay, good. Whatever works for you is your path. If you're not clear that there's enough food in the universe that you can have food and you can have a path, then you're just sacrificing yourself for some set of reasons. So if people all tell you that and try to trick you into that, and they offer you a win-lose only, that they have to win and you have to lose, then you make sure that you win and they lose. People think there's no conflict around here. Well, you're kidding, right? There's going to be conflict if a nuclear bomb comes from Russia. I guess then we'll know what conflict is. Kyiv said, oh no. Ukraine said, no way, Russia's not going to attack. I don't believe it. We've been in a relationship with her. Now there's thousands, tens of thousands of dead bodies and tortured bodies and raped women and all kinds of stuff, hacked limbs. So pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses understanding. But if you can preemptively see that someone's functioning from a win-lose before they raise their hand to you, you make sure they lose. You punch them in the nose, or whatever you got to do. So really grounding deals with this conflict thing, and all your repressed anger, now it has an outlet. It's only if you repress your shadow and repress genuine anger and find out where it's coming from, whether it's legitimate or not. It's only if you repress that stuff or deny your shadow that things become distorted. If you've been taught from spiritual Fruit Loop land that you're not allowed to have anger, no psychologist in the world would agree with that. Anger is part of the human psyche. Plus, if a wolf is midstream about to bite a baby, anger and destroying that wolf, hurting it, is a good thing. You can't take that conversation, then you need to go and somewhere else, because this is life. This is adulthood. I don't know why it is. I don't like it either personally, but I accept it and I'll participate in it as best as I know how to do and to get better at it. So you got to get better at three things, like a battery. If you want to develop more energy in your body, you got to get better at the negative, which is grounding things inside yourself and others. You got to get better at the neutral, which is what you're stuck on. You're stuck on the neutral. But you got to improve your understanding of the neutral, meaning they go their way, I go my way, no judgment, no whatever. And you got to get better at the positive. OP, calm the hell down. Now, not later. Now, right now, stop. You have to be, or stroke her hair, or, in other words, the positive is a proactive action. And it can be giving wise words. It can be an offensive action. It says to somebody, stop. The negative is a grounding action, which automatically brings yourself and the other individual to grounding. There's a mutual disease dynamic between you and everybody. So if you're just using your head to objectify them, you can't see that you're really the same thing, that the other person has all these issues too, digestive issues, and so forth. They're the same as you. As long as you're a human being, we're the same. We're one organism groping about in search of itself out there. So if one cell in that organism, namely you and me, 2 cells, slow down, stop, and reverse the search, you can find how grounding can happen. That's a good thing for us. You can have neutrality to happen. That's a good thing for us. And you can have positive application. That's a good thing for us. These 3 things need to be communicated about more and more so that you understand. Now, if you're outside the box and in the zone, they just flow. Geniuses don't think, thinking happens. Just be connected to the sky and the earth and mentors. And to do that, you got to suffer the exposure where you're wrong, which is kind of infinite. So there you go.
Thank you.
Well, I didn't do nothing.
No, I feel like you helped expose things, and then the exposure is really what I need, because I think that I intellectually think that I'm the pro at being neutral, but being neutral is it's poison. Like, it's one part of 3 parts, right? And so if I'm trying to be one part of 3 parts, obviously I'm going to suffer from some stuff, because like life's about, like you said, conflict. You got positive, you got negative. There can't be one without the other. So if I'm just trying to be one all the time, and I feel it, and even I just remembered there was something Jesus said in the Bible about, don't be neutral, make your mind one way or the other, make up your mind one way or the other, because being neutral is worse than being like evil or being good. Something like that. It's like, you need to make up your mind one way or the other.
The negative is only evil when it's not discernment, when it's judgment instead of discernment. But discernment can be a good one to do with ourselves in fact of the mutual disease dynamic that exists with us both. So then we're both 2 beggars trying to find bread. If you have that kind of humility, you become a conduit of life. So negative or evil is not evil anymore. It's just, hey, child, don't run into the street. You're going to get run over, and you take control. There's no question about it. So this action is kind of the missing ingredient for human psychological health these days, because we all feel that, who's the teacher? The teacher isn't anybody. They spoke to me in a harsh way, and now I'm going to tell my mom and create a lawsuit. I don't understand. But the world has been this way the whole time. And what you understand is that it's not the world, it's you. So the exposure is what discomfort that is revealed that of unmet needs, emotional mostly, inside of the human psyche, that causes the agitator of the washing machine to peck on you. That means the people in your life. And then from that, that agitation can be enjoyable, especially if it's a good relationship, or if it's a relationship that you're working on things together. So everybody, even though they might be wearing different masks, playing different roles, like the on the movie screen, the hero and the villain, they all become part of a movie. And if you follow the white light back now, not death or not disease or not whatever, just right now, follow the white light back, you can go from producer, director, and become the writer. You can start to script stuff, because this personality and that personality, you know what they're doing. And most people are not really too intelligent in the sense of knowing of actions and consequences. So you can become so spacious that the projections of personalities and forms pull back and self-regulate. So this is a responsibility you have today, to slow down, stop, reverse the search, and do darshaning and do naturalizing. Darshaning means connection with some kind of a mentor. There's an awful lot of them. There's a Plato, and there's a Socrates, and there's a Jesus, and there's a Buddha, and there's many, many more. And anytime you're separate from the ascending and descending order of intelligence, you don't know your place anymore in the food chain. So therefore, you're not in right relationship with life. When the cortex takes over and attempts a separate independent existence from the sky, from the earth, from the environment, then it's no longer connected with the energy that's in the air. And it no longer understands, hey, there's a lot of stuff I don't know and that I'm wrong about. So you're no longer subject to instruction and changing things. Being subject to instruction and changing things is very uncomfortable. But it results in the greatest comfort, the greatest hormonal release, the greatest zest and energy and power and insight. You know? So the discomfort that you're consumed with in your body, we need to get through that so you can get to this other discomfort. Otherwise, you know, if you're worried about survival and you're worried about health and food and rent and stuff, you can't really know that the stars are out. You don't have time for that. You don't know that the tree and the cows are out there. You just forget. But if you could remember just for a second, you know, so the theory of enlightenment is one can change everything. If you can remember that theory and then get into the steps, these 7 steps. Step 1, remove the covering. Step 2, slow down extremely. Step 3, transcend. Go beyond it all for 3 seconds, like a beautiful bite of food, an orgasm, breathtaking beauty in nature. Step 4, rooting. Gather more gravity to yourself. Teaspoon of a neutron star, 50 million tons. The greater the mass of a planet, the more time slows down. I got an app on my phone. Did I remove the app? I think I might have. But anyway, this app was just fun, that you sped up the spaceship, and it showed that as you sped up the spaceship, the time on Earth was going faster, the faster you went in the spaceship. And then it came to a limit, which I don't understand, speed of light. But so the clock of the spaceship is going slower than the clock on the Earth. You put one clock on the bottom of the Empire State Building, one clock on top, the clock on the bottom moves slower. That's science, hard science. I don't do pseudoscience. So step 4, rooting. Gather more gravity, slow down your sense of time. Of course, in meditation that happens too, but that happens in meditation in the inner world. Now in the rooting part, in step 4, it happens in the physical world. You start to define your field, your personal field, as connected to sky and earth. Sky, positive electricity, positive ions; earth, negative ions in the soil. So you're a bio battery that's connected and fueled by sky and earth. What's your body? A heap of food. If you don't have food, you can't have a body. So sky and earth animates your body to activate its metabolism, and then you seek food. But if you're in mental obsession and you have no awareness of sky and earth or mentors and people to serve, you know, where you're at in things, you're not going to develop any magnetism or hunger. You'll be stuck in your head, and that exacerbates the aging process. Okay, so the cortex becomes calm, and you're in step 4 now. I did some meditation. I'm just going through the steps. We didn't meditate yet, but rooting process happens. Rooting process is each step is an infinite opportunity today. So now you've got magma, you've got soil, you've got moving tectonic plates, you have solid metal ball at the center of the earth. Where are you? What's going on here? When you touch down this earth, when you finally relax like heavy sleep, you'll have a feeling of solidity in your body. I stand here like the Rock of Gibraltar kind of thing. You become very solid. So that's what you need for physical health is the rooting. Rooting is difficult because we just want to bloom. Think about it. Express. We don't want to receive from life and then touch down, break ground right where you are. No, we want something else, somewhere else, something to change other than what's going on right now. And in that, we can't face what's going on right now. So we do all these educations and these knowledge, and you find your way to calm down, ground down, and settle down, slow down. Why are all those phrases down? Settle down in life. Why is it down? For the foundation. Do you have a foundation in life? Strong foundation? Do you have strong roots? Why is it, why are these phrases like that? To activate the neurological major centers in your body, you have these phrases: heartfelt, good head on your shoulders, guts, intestinal fortitude. Write down all this one. Guts, intestinal fortitude. Can you stomach it? Backbone, going for backup. These are the truths of the chakras, or the major nerve plexus energy places in the body in your biological biography. The inner world is more important than the outer world. Find your inner world and get these nerve areas activated by conduiting the sounds and the sights and the sense. Those are the miracle streams. You can't receive from the cow and the environment and the Pele and whatever's in that environment and the ocean. You can't receive from it if you're stuck in your head and you're worried about life or death. You can't receive from it all. If somebody kisses your forehead or puts their hand on the forehead, or you have this amazing experience where your head feels safe, you feel totally safe and protected. Now it's going to be like a waterfall that's unplugged, meaning that the water is going to go down and you can settle down, you can touch down, you can break ground. Why is it when you start a business or something, breaking ground? What? So all the reality of enlightenment is given in ordinary talk, if you can make those correlations. Tell me more. What's on your mind?
I don't know, just focusing on, I'm kind of tired of focusing on pain. I'm like literally exhausted from focusing on like pain, like sitting in the chair, now my shoulder's sore. And then running through my mind is, well, you lost all this weight, you don't have any muscle, now your shoulder that was had a problem. So it's just all this like dilemmas and problems that it just keep running through my mind.
You know how we talked about the heart being the magnetic central in the body?
Mhm.
It's the largest magnetic field in the body. That's what chi is, or in yoga, they call it prana, or Jesus says, believe on me, from your belly flow rivers of living water. He also said, I have food to eat, not of. That's because the spirit touches the head and activates the heart. Again, the chakras has an interesting reality in normal talk. Heart-centered, heartfelt, heartwarming. Write down those. Every phrase you can think of. Maybe you can think of a new one for me. Heartfelt, heart-centered, heartwarming. What else has got to do with heart in it? Put your heart into it. Is your heart into it? They're coming from their heart. Oh, they have such a good heart. What does that all mean? Why
Have a heart?
Have a heart, right? All right, have a heart for the pain in your body, mind, and suffer it right now. Feel it and still have a heart of compassion. Name of a famous book. When the heart turns down to your guts, you feed your belly.
So when I feel pain, a lot of times I blame myself for being an idiot and I'm creating the pain, and I get stuck in that loop.
Well, I wouldn't do that too much because, we are to blame for plenty of stuff, but grace is more important. A child falls down and learns how to walk by getting up. We're not anything more than a child in this sense of real life. If you go and you compare yourself to some super enlightened person, you don't know a thing. So it's about grace. It's not about law. Everybody teaches you that if you do this, and if you respond to me appropriately, and if you, then I will give you some money or something. Unconditional love has nothing to do with that. So, if you do the job well, then you'll get something. Or if you do good enough, then you'll get something. Reward and punishment functions, but that's not the basis of love. It's not to say that other people are coming from a bad place in behaving that way. It's just that they don't understand. And they feel that's the only thing they can do is judge ourselves. Judge yourself because you have shoulder pain and you're such an idiot. Now, I have no doubt that I'm such an idiot. There is like no doubt. Evidently, you must have doubt because you're concerned about it. You see, you want to get out of being an idiot. There is no getting out of it. So you may as well just accept it. I'm an idiot. I'm a failure in so many different ways. And if I analyze it more, I certainly will die early because, I'll kill myself with self-criticism. The critical outgoing voice that demands a certain response from another individual has nothing to do with a conversation of value. A conversation of value means that you're a beggar that needs bread and I'm a beggar that needs bread. We don't need to have another conversation. And when you place the schooling and the money above that, you're headed for hell. You're going to hell. Or when you place whether you're good enough or not, you're going to hell because you must experience pain because that's the only thing that'll shut you up. So if you know that because somebody like me told you it, maybe you want to change it. Maybe you want to realize, hey, I'm already in so much trouble for actions and consequences with my own mind and my own behavior and this pain I have and different things. I'm already like, I can't get it right no matter what. Oh, wait a minute. Everybody's like that because everybody's aging and dying. Everybody fails in the ability to influence, even just to stay alive. Can't do it. The human psyche can only understand so much knowledge when its entire existence is questioned, and then it has to war or it has to run away. But an enlightened human psyche realizes that it's a hopeless idiot and there is no hope, and it doesn't question that anymore. And now the sun comes in and it creates a new shoulder, maybe, In other words, miracles are realities, aren't they? How much can we influence our hearts and our bones and our shoulders today? How much does it relate to Opie's shoulder? And on and on and on and on. You'll find the reality of interdependence going on here. And you'll also find that void overcomes pulse. That when you have this vast spaciousness and timelessness and faith and hope in the right sense, that who you are is not your mind or body, so you can observe all this in a detached way. You're not just that, you're a psyche, a soul that moves in psychic space. Now you can have more influence and not have so much blame, because this is not just you and your mommy and your daddy and the great mommy and great granddaddy. This is the genetic code expressing itself primarily. And when you go back in your genetic code, you can find that you, as a genome, lived in this culture and now have these pre-genetic dispositions in your genetic code because your ancestry goes back to the Nordics 1,000 years, something, and that's your primary thing. Lena is primary Inca. Like her whole thing for 200,000 years goes Inca. My whole thing for 200,000 years is Europe. 200,000 years, like 90%, I think. I'm getting it right. So who you are is an amalgamation of society and schooling, and not just mommy and daddy, but a million mommies and daddies. When you start to use your mind as a quantum processor, You're no longer a subject-object strategist. In other words, to not have your own understanding, but to realize you're subject to all sorts of patterns, then your brain goes from being a self computer, not separate to connected to the net, to connecting to the net, the inner net. That's your soul. That's your life. That's how you can redefine yourself, by developing so much magnetic energy that neurology and tenderality improves. Neurology and tenderality. So the magnetic energy that happens, like with the hot hand of a friend, or if you're sexually turned on, you got the magnetic heat going, that's all science. When you're sexually turned on, your magnetic energy increases in amplitude, it soars. When you're hungry, your magnetic energy soars, if it's not a debilitating hunger. The hands of people who are accomplished anything with their hands, a mechanic, a pianist, whatever, their average hand has hundreds of thousands of times more magnetic energy than the average person's hand, just in a resting state. So for you to be able to get enough magnetism means you have to be the recipient. You can't be a strategist. I'm going to figure it out. You can't be a strategist to overcome the net with your computer. You have to be a co-participant with it. That's like the human psyches of your family and of the world and of history. You can become anybody you want to be. And everybody that's told you that you're this and you're that, it should become a fantasy for you. You should be so sure of yourself that you're not going to give up. I don't care how long it takes and how stupid you are right now, that you're not going to stop. Turn all your addictions, all your cravings into one thing. How am I going to heal myself? How am I going to become more intelligent? Forget about the body, forget about the mind, forget about the finance, forget about it, forget all of it. Sacrifice all of it. Don't worry about one thing. Only understand that there's somebody that's more intelligent than you, and that you're not the most intelligent, and that you need to be a student. That's all you got to do. The second you do that, the ordinary personality, you'll go beyond them. They can't think as fast as you. They can't do as fast as you. And so now you're no longer plagued by what you think of yourself or what others think of yourself. But to get to that point, you need to develop extraordinary discernment over New Age Fruit Loop, for example. And you're not a sacrifice for the devil. New Age Fruit Loop belief is like the devil. Religious belief in the negative sense is like the devil. Belief in money as the great solution is like the devil. Devil and demon is simply external solution for personal problem. So rather than blaming all those people, you could have discernment and isolate your own space and have your drumbeat, but realize you can have compassion because, yeah, you do the same thing. And in that compassion, you'll have plenty of discernment to knock their head off, should you need to, because it's not helping anybody to have mental obsession, for example. So it has to stop. And it will, by pain. That's how the human psyche rolls. Heaven, hell, heaven, hell, heaven, hell. And through these cycles, elation and depression, you should discover equanimity. That's the lesson that you're being taught, is equanimity. And that equanimity is not a neutrality that is without switching to positive action or negative action. Equanimity takes action, whether it's receptive action or, that's a great teaching in some of the inner stuff of enlightenment teaching. They say no matter what you do, stay in equanimity, but equanimity moves. Equanimity moves into the negative. The negative can be a projecting negative or an internal negative. The equanimity moves into neutrality. You go your way, I go my way. I get out of the way. You get out of the way. Equanimity moves in positivity. Here, I can help you with that in your body. Or stop thinking.
Is that the middle way instead of these extremes? Because my
Yeah.
mental obsession takes me to extreme. That's what it does best.
Yeah, but that's a great vote, you know, bipolar, or sorry, bipolar is a wonderful gift if you can take those extremes, and everybody's bipolar these days, especially. You take those extremes and you understand what the middle ground is with those extremes. Then if you extend your arm, you never extend it too far when you're picking up an object. When you're walking, you never walk too fast. You know, you hold your ground, and your equanimity can then understand that it only has such a reach. And there's no use to going over here because it's going to create trauma.
Hmm.
So there's things you can't handle in the other person and in yourself. But you can become positive, you can become negative, you could create actions. It's all about deep meditation. Deep meditation is demonstrated scientifically to produce more control, conscious control through mind power over an individual's systems than any other known method. Nobody can influence their own brain and their own hormones and their own psychology like an advanced meditator. Harvard University says in 8 weeks, you change your brain matter with properly instructed meditation. In 8 weeks, you increase cortical thickness. Cortical thickness is great because it's the scientific master, but we've exchanged the scientific, well, Einstein said it. We prize the rational over the intuitive, but the intuitive is the sacred gift and the rational is the servant, but we've reversed it, Einstein said. So the cortex is great in that it's a rational scientific instrument, but when it's prized beyond the core of the brain or beyond the spine, the spinal cord and the inner journey, where Jesus said, where's the kingdom of heaven within you? When the cortex that can scientifically understand, I should eat this food and not eat that food. It's a conflict mechanism that's brilliant. It can understand this is a real teacher and this is false teaching. And it doesn't matter the other person suffering consequences because they promote false teachings. You would rather have them suffer consequences than not tell the truth that they're mad. Look at the money I gave up with Andrea and with Katrina, yeah, and Catherine. That's 3 people that gave me money, a lot of money. And I told them, sorry, you're not allowed to learn from me anymore. You watch it happen, not only them, but many others. Why? Because I'm busy. I'm not enlightened. I'm not so gracious. I need to have something genuine talking to me. Anyway, so yeah, the rational mind can decide all kinds of things. It can be very intelligent. That's what separates us from the apes and animals. They don't have cortexes. So it's a great thing. But now the human brain has said, this is the only thing. I'm going to use cortex to get a piece of cheese to predate in the external world because that's going to make me more powerful. That's lust and gluttony and greed and so forth. But actually, you don't only need power. You need spirit more than you need power, or you need reason in terms of motivation, drive, more than you do more power. So to use the cortex as a way to define, say, the path to self-healing, that's great. Now the instrument of the cortex is subject to the inner brain, and science cingulate cortex. Cingulate cortex is the place in the brain where intuition resides. Where? Right there. What else is right there? Largest bit of magnetite bearing tissue, senses magnetism. Put the pigeon in a box, take them 1,000 miles away, and they can fly back to the place. What? And we have the same thing in the same location as animals have that senses magnetism. So when you have third eye open, also the bones in the nose have magnetite bearing tissue. When you receive from your head, when you have brainstem convergence, meaning that this head is not trying to hold space for anybody anymore. You become the recipient of life. It's not trying to comment on anything or anybody anymore. When you do that, you have this brainstem convergence, that's when the saliva happens to create digestive strength. you mouth watering, mouth tingling, heartfelt, heart center, intestinal fortitude, guts, balls, backbone, roots that go deep, good head on your shoulder, above it all. That's when the inner world of your own personal field becomes the journey. And so the other person's psyche becomes enveloped in that. You know, even light is not escaped when it meets a black hole. It means that spaciousness is infinite. Spaciousness is invincible. It doesn't change. But if you're thoughts and you're not silence, then you're not spacious. So silence is the proper sound, that the backdrop of your mental noise. And if you have that, then other people's psyche are enveloped in that, and there's no escaping that kind of a person. Just like even light can't escape a black hole. But a black hole is not only the accepting of all the energy of the universe, which every tradition says is where God is. God speaks, let there be light, shunyata in Buddhism. Vayu in yoga, on and on and on and on. If you calm down your brain and you become spacious and timeless like a black hole, it's not necessarily the negative like people think of a black hole. Do you know a black hole also creates the universe? Because the information comes in and then you can jet it out. So what if the information in your relationship comes into you and you can jet out healing for them? So unless you receive, not just here, but then down, just like a tree and root and gather gravity and bloom, can you have magnetic energy that heals stuff in people, changes their lives, changes their destinies, alleviates their karma. So the real problem is getting to the spaciousness and timelessness, calming down. If you accept life, okay, so transparency gives you acceptance. Acceptance gives you receptivity. So that's what I mean when I give the reference to the black hole. I know for your mind that might be a scary thing. It's not. Everything comes into space and goes out from space. All these words are going into space. They're dissipating. All these bodies, they're dissipating. They're going to become worm food or air food. They're burnt. And then new life comes again, exactly like plants and trees and all that. So are you somebody that's independent of your body or not? I mean, how could somebody not know that? I have no idea. It's like, what have you been doing your whole life? Do you not know that you can move in psychic space? For me, it's so ordinary, and yet I have to talk as though it's something unique. It's completely ordinary. In science, Bell's theorem, superentanglement, non-locality. An electron is in the exact same location as the other electron. You can physically have one in New York and the other one in London, and you change the spin on the electron, and it's not a communication device of light speed or some kind of speed. It's instant. So science says every single physical piece of matter is in the exact same location in space. So therefore, the 3D world is illusory in the sense that there's something else that's deeper. All right, so if you calm down a lot, you realize that in the dream state or in the inner world, that psychic has some reality, let's just say in terms of your influence to communicate well in relationships, for example. You can kind of tune in, even if it's in your imagination, you can tune into the other person and say, oh, this is where they're at. Now, every thought in the brain produces a magnetic signal. You can put a cap on somebody's head and discover their thoughts. That's science. You have material in your body that senses magnetism. So if every thought produces magnetism and you have material in your body that senses magnetism, like an animal does, and a pigeon can sense magnetic ley lines, and who's to say there's not psychic? For me, for a person to not know psychic is real is almost absurd. It's like, I can't imagine what the person's mind is. They must be like marmot intelligence. but that's a bit mean. So let me just say that in science, there's supporting reasons for psychic. But we don't have to believe in psychic or not. I'm not asking you to believe in psychic. I'm just saying that without talking about psychic, your mind is a tuning instrument that can tune into different things, people, places, things. You could tune into 3 a.m. starlight right now. You could see that in your mind and the silence of it. Must be nice there. Probably a pretty dark place. There's not all kinds of lights, is there? Where we live here is one of the darkest places in the world because of the sand dunes and 360 degrees of mountains. So the stars are beyond imagination. So you could tune into 3 a.m. starlight. You could tune into the burrito or something, the fish one. You could tune into Opie making coffee or something, or whatever she makes in the morning, because that's going to happen soon. Right? Now, the idea is, can you slow down or not? So tell me, how is it that you slow down as an individual?
First thing I do is go into nature.
Okay.
I look at the trees, or I listen to the ocean,
Ooh.
the birds, the flowers. I got a big yard, so slow down. That's the first thing I think of as nature. Music, like super soft, kind of beautiful music, violin, piano.
Nice.
And then I usually notice that I'm breathing improperly. Well,
Mm.
breathing really has been the key for me slowing down, is breathing. Just slowly being aware of my breath, breathing in my belly. Yes, I usually need some sort of a catalyst to slow down. Something, breath, music, nature, or and usually nature includes everything, basically sight, smell. So sort of the senses when they're, I don't know, when I appreciate beauty with my senses, I slow down just instantly.
Cool.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is with nature, but nature calms me, and I realize from listening to you, it's because I have this battle with everybody's intellect and my own intellect. So, and nature, there's no battle. It's just a bird being a bird. I don't feel like the bird's attacking me. I don't need to judge the bird. But for some reason, with people, very difficult for me to do that. Don't know why. So, and then I just follow your instructions, right? I slow down a little with the breath, and then the eyelid lights, and then step one and the stuck list. And I'm like, okay, well, I blame myself for that, or this injury happened, or whatever it is. And over the meditation, though, that's changed. So I could have the same memory I had a year ago of the stuck list. It has a completely different feeling now. It's almost as though acceptance appeared out of nowhere, or grace appeared where it was once something bad. Oh my God, or it turned into grace a little bit. But then the stuck list, I noticed it keeps expanding. It just keeps going. There's all kinds of stuff that I forgot.
And the same thing with step 2, like
Yeah.
the help list, right?
Yeah. And then what happens is that they go from one step to another, and then they kind of weave into each other a little bit.
Cool.
Right. And sometimes something that felt like it was a stuck list turns into a favorite list, which is weird.
Cool.
And
Get to profound relief.
yeah, like there's like a sense of peace. It's almost like through meditation, there's a forgiveness of somebody that I was blaming, which is really like a forgiveness of myself. Right. Because I recognize a pointing finger in meditation big time. And yeah, so that the moment, and I was listening to Garshan because I would think, well, I meditated today and I got like 4 seconds without thought. So tomorrow I'll get 5 seconds without that. Garshan's like, no. It could be different completely. One day you could be like sitting there, total spaciousness. The
Oh.
next day you could have a million thoughts.
Oh.
So he
Okay.
really helps. He actually mentions about like
Yeah.
yeah, right. The conclusion illusion, right? And at the same time, though, it feels like it is some sort of a progression that I'm not taking credit for. It's not something I'm doing. It's like the process, the drumbeat it's just a drumbeat is all it is, you know?
If the rain happens and the bird in a nice way happens and the cow and the tree and so forth, nice way happens, it slows down and it starts to create this drumbeat. What does the doctor say about the future of your fused spine?
They say if I don't take a certain medication, it's just gonna eventually just get a little bit worse.
What does it
Like,
have to do with length of life? Does it influence length
oh
of life?
yeah, no, yeah, probably they say that well, it's funny you say that because I actually got hurt on the job and I had a workman's comp nurse and she was supposed to be this neutral nurse. She's like, you know you're gonna die younger, right? Because of your
Oh
condition.
my God.
I was like, what?
Cool.
Oh, gee,
Thanks.
thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Wow, she did, huh? All right.
Yeah,
So
so it's definitely it
what does
really
it have to do with longevity? Like what's the
it
long?
depends on how your spine fuses. They say I'm fortunate that my spine did not fuse hunched over. It
Okay.
causes more problems,
Okay.
right? Instead, I got stuck straight up. Um, but yeah, I think I've experienced some of the difficulties with digestion. There's not as much room for my whole abdomen because my rib cage is. But basically,
Oh,
I could pretty much keep it at a stalemate, whatever it is now, if I take action. You know, they believe.
if you take action, that's interesting comment.
Yeah. So if I, you know, eat healthy, exercise healthy, stretch,
No, no, no,
that's what
no,
they
no.
say. That's what they
That
say.
is true, but no, 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 no. What's first is your mind and your psychology and your emotions. That's primary. Now, in that, naturally, you should be eating correctly. You should be sleeping correctly. You should be sexually strong. You should be digestively strong. You should be forcing the movement of your ribs by powerful breathing. Yes, 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 yes. But that's not the main answer. The main answer is advanced meditation. Because if you can influence your metabolism with your mind, now you're going to have more magnetic energy to make the choices of eating properly and not be driven about like a bull through your nose by
So
whatever.
is that when you just said that, I felt that advanced meditation
Yeah.
really the
Yeah.
key is to calm down,
Yeah.
calming down.
Totally. In your body, not with your mind out here in la la land, with your pulse and your hormones and your breathing pattern and the tolerance of pain and this body.
Yeah, I feel that. That to me is probably the single, I would say, I don't know, intuitive thing that I get through advanced meditation is there's those moments where there's a calmness, which is completely opposite of everything, every single moment I've ever spent. Just for that
But
little
I want
moment.
you to have it in your body. I don't want you to have it in your imagination because you can deny bodily awareness and deny psychological functioning and reality and experience that in the transcendental state. So that can happen for a moment. There's 4 states according to modern human psychology: waking, dreaming, sleeping, transcendental. Now in scientific modern psychology, transcendental is considered a state of mind. But new age reality, war, COVID, everything on the news, stress in life, that's causing fantasy world like Opie and what's her name? Fantasy world transcendence, where you get away from your psychology transcendence. No, I'm saying rub some mud on your body, go outside, stand there, enjoy, hug the cow, sensual. Write down in big letters, sensual.
So would that be so I do the meditation, I get calm. What you're talking to us about is when I feel my bones get heavy and I'm sort of I ground into the earth. So the
Consciously.
transcendental is when I'm floating in light. But
Yeah,
then what
that's
you're talking
great. I
about
know
is
it's
when you
great. For me,
all
when
of a
I
sudden the
began, that was the whole of everything, and that was the great, and it was all just waste of time.
because I do notice a difference. Sometimes it is like an airy fairy meditation, and other times I feel my bones and I get super heavy.
You don't have to worry about the airy fairy because as soon as you go to sleep at night, you're going to go to the transcendental place. Everybody has that already. We all have the transcendental observer. I do want you to recognize the transcendental silent observer in your body while you're conscious, while you're talking to me. Conscious sleeping is meditation. So it's more proper for meditation to be through the body, creating a platform and a springboard by sensual nourishment. Go out and get the greasiest ass steak you can and feed on it like a rabid animal. Period, 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 period. Go get a bucket of oil and dump it on Opie and get some kind of fun going in the bathtub. Don't have an orgasm. This is what you need to stay alive. You need your body's metabolism to be activated. So, staying alive is a decent thing, I think, and to look into your body and to have your entire life devoted to this, not your entire life devoted towards doing better at work or doing better for Opie. No, that's all death. Your entire life being devoted towards you becoming healed, because only if you become healed can you help anybody else. Now, if somebody else is an enemy or whatever, then it's wartime. Okay. But in the meantime, you can find a way to avoid war more so by recognizing pre-incident indicators. If Ukraine could have recognized more pre-incident indicators, maybe there could have been no bloodshed. So after war has already happened and you find yourself in this dangerous circumstance with your body, with your relationship, with your finance or something, but mainly we're just talking about body and mind, you want to back off and go back and find the knots and undo them. Go back in time and find out when you hurt your neck and all this stuff and see the event again 10,000 times and see that year afterwards. Were you laid up in a hospital for a year and stuff like that? Or
No, I actually just shrugged it off in bed. I didn't even tell my parents. I just shrugged it off.
so something happened like
Yeah,
and then-
like my neck was getting sore and sore and sore, and then one day I just woke up and like I couldn't move my finger. It felt like my neck was going to get chopped off. And
oh,
so
because
I kind of,
squeezing you
yeah,
out.
I guess that's when the vertebrae hit the spinal cord almost or whatever.
I
And so
see.
I just like kind of didn't move my head, moved every other part of my body for a while until it calmed down, and never sought help.
Your feet is the place where your energetic healing is protected. So if you get an energetic, in other words, if you feel better today, then the only way you're going to protect that is through being the most ferocious warrior anybody ever witnessed. Nobody's allowed to interrupt you. And this means that there's certain boundaries that are proper in life, and you to being taking care of yourself and what you need to have happen today, such as more bodily awareness of nature, more, because everybody only wants one thing, more, right?
Mhm.
Either more understanding or more food or more something, more. So, okay, you can have more brainwave coherence. The heart is a gland as well as an organ. So that gland produces a hormone, more heart hormone, more pituitary hormone, more thyroid, all in the right balance, more hunger, more sexual desire, more reach the bones to soak the bones. You can't find your bones. You can't even feel your bones. When you're old and without any energy, then you feel your bones because you don't have any energy out here. Well, when you're young, you have energy out here, and take that energy that's out there and stop searching for a cracker and go find your bones. So the only way you can do that, you calm down your mind. So calming down your mind has got to be what the more is all about, because that's going to cause the more hormonal nectar. That's going to cause the more relaxation and so forth. So this is the primary duty. And in this primary duty, you have then eat right, take the right medicine and so forth. That's great. So you see the difference, why I said no. So you need all of these external protocols because that's like the final train stop on the road of enlightenment. What you do, what you say, how you think, what you eat, how you sex, so forth. But if all of that world of objectified reality, that's the outcome of subconscious beliefs and experience, if that's where you're focusing, then you're focusing on the screen and you're not focusing with the writer and the producer. So you can never understand reality, never get magnetic power to the degree where it changes neurology if you're focusing on the outside all the time, which you do relentlessly. It drives me crazy. You automatically are going to eat the right thing and get the right supplement and take the right doctor and talk to Peter, the ass wipe. And I know he's nice, but I can't stand it. Here he is. He's got a whole site on healing. ALS is called your thing.
Yes.
AS, healing AS. And the first thing that comes up on the internet is that people don't get healed of this. This is a chronic, debilitating, rough thing. And the first thing on his website is sign up and you can heal yourself of AS. I'd like to smack him in his head. So I'm not saying that that's not good to give people hope, but it sounds like to me that he was, in my opinion would be, sorry, Peter, that he's a terrible influence in your life, basically, is my opinion, because he's putting all the responsibility of this to do with, you can change this. That's not necessarily true. It doesn't look like it to me. It hasn't changed yet in 30 years, has it? But I think the proper way to say would be, you can influence this. And the change we're going to leave to some miracle, maybe. But to have a website and to say that you can heal yourself. And then I said, how do you heal yourself? You know, how do you heal yourself? AS. And he said 3 steps. First step, are you kidding me? Go in the doghouse. Get away from me. Get out. You're telling a guy that's freaking crunched up like this and all of that, 3 steps. Sorry. But, you know, I believe in miracles, and I'm sure he's had great accomplishment and everything, but any reasonable person in the whole world would say, stay away from that guy. Sorry about that. But on the other side of it, I'm sure that he has like a lot of great things to say, and he has, you know, hope, and maybe somebody had great results. And you got to be like that guy I sent you to watch today. You know, he has this completion delusion thing going all the time, but yet he's brilliant. So you can be a consummate student and learn some things from him, but to just go along, the only person you're going to follow non-cognitively is a guru, sage, saint thing. You know, the highest level of intelligence that there is that, and they're real, they exist. You could talk about an Einstein, you could talk about a super genius, and these guys are that times 10. It's very common that they speak 10, 15 languages. So they're already super geniuses, but they're that times 10. That's the kind of a person that has so much energy, so much whatever, that their projection to you is a giving. And, you know, they really suffer to not take your energy and your resources and everything, unless you have a lot and you're somebody like me, and then yeah, sure. But I'm not a guru, you know, I'm not an enlightened person. So if you really want, you know, somebody to that you trust fully and follow, then that's going to be this categorical realm. And then, you know, we can be friends in the Sangha, and maybe I'm a senior of you or something. Okay. But I'm not an enlightened person. That's just the bottom line. So I got more holes than a boat shot up by Ukraine. I don't know what that reference was, or the vice versa. So humility and being, you know, not capable, that's the mark of a bridge teacher. That's why I'm a genuine bridge teacher, because I'm going to keep doing that. And another reason why I'm a valid bridge teacher is because my final say is not me. My final say is real teachers and teaching. That's the last thing I have to say. And that's what defines a real bridge teacher. Bridge teacher means they can show you the teaching, and they can show you the teachers, but they're not really the teacher or the teaching.
Unfortunately, there's the expression, you can lead a horse to water, but
Yeah.
you can't make him drink.
Yep. Yeah.
I need to drink the water. That's how I feel. I've been led to the water, you know. Like right now I'm hungry. Actually, I'm hungry for the first time. Well, that's good.
Well, deny that and keep going, because I'm not letting you go unless you like fall over. So you had to slow down more. Well, I realize now it's the new thing that only marathon with people, because people have the attention spans of small gnats. So I may as well just like.
Well, for you, 2 hours is like a blink of an eye. For me, it's like, damn, 2 hours. That's a long time. Huh? I'm getting hemorrhoids sitting here. I'm just like all kinds of shit going on.
Yeah. I've been.
To be honest, to be transparent.
Yeah. Well, you want to stand for the recitation?
Yeah, that would help a little bit. Oh. Yeah, I realized that I never ever had discipline in my life.
Okay.
And a discipline can be a good thing to like, okay, get up at 8, do this, or get up at 6. It could be an actual drumbeat in a way, right? I go to bed at 9, I get up at 6, I meditate, I eat a good meal, I go out into nature, I touch the earth with my mind. Before you know it, I spend a couple hours doing the drum beat and then let everything else unfold after that. That could be like a discipline, right? Is that kind of what a discipline is in a way?
And the
No matter
discipline
what.
of grace.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm grateful. It's not, I have to do it like I'm getting whipped in the back to do it. No, it's I get to do this, like a gratitude feeling. And yet it's not going to be easy. I know. See see how my mind, I jump straight in my mind and says it's not going to be easy. But that's as the, like you say, as the observer, I do observe that. I'm very aware that I am not who I think I am, and I'm definitely not this body. Very aware. But I'm also aware I get distracted by that completely all the time.
That's really nice.
Distraction is pretty much where I live.
Yeah. Now we're
I'm
talking.
aware of the earth, right? I'm aware my mind touches the earth for a split second. Then the calm space is really the place to practice being, right? And
Yeah.
yet I get pulled around by all these distractions.
Yes, this is how a master talks. I don't know. I'm confused. I have a problem. I need your help. Or a master wannabe like you and me. Somebody that wants to perfect life, to become healed. So if you have a body and it's ailing, that's part of what needs to be healed, isn't it? So that's what you do today then. And you'll find your psychology in your body, and you'll find, like Peter says, reasons of your own causing stress. Okay. But grace overcomes law. You're not going to think your way to anything. If you do the discipline of the drum beat, you're going to find silence. My body hurts. My finances are in shambles. I've done many wrong things. Keep going. And be in that, be subject to that pain now. Now.
So isn't that kind of fundamental anyways? If I were to apply logic to what you just said, if I'm doing something and I feel pain in doing something that, say, is in alignment with the earth, then it might behoove me to do that. And then eventually I'll just be in alignment with earth. If I were to use my brain to think about it.
The doing of it is not the acceptance of the pain that's present. That's doing and working through it. But before you can do and work,
Battery low.
before you can do and work through it, you've got to just be present with it. Baba G, Baba G. Did you see what I'm saying there?
Yeah, so being present with it is the opposite of deflecting it, avoiding it.
Being present with it is opposite of doing something with it. Why did it say battery low?
Oh, so it's basically just like observing it.
Being with it a little better, yeah. Yeah. So if you feel what's going on right
That was
now.
my battery.
Oh, if you feel
I
okay.
thought, like, you searching for a battery? No, that was
Yeah.
my battery is getting low.
Okay.
So I got a speaker in my computer. It's just blowing a little bit.
Okay.
I'll just switch to that.
You can't plug in the Bluetooth?
Let me see. Speak.
Hello.
Let me go get my headphones real quick. They'll be waiting.
Yes, take your time.
All right. Does that have to be real quick?
No. When was the last time you felt hungry?
Well, I kind of had a couple little hunger pains yesterday, but it's weird because I got real hungry, and then once I had this pain, then I just, like, anxiety took over. Oh my God, like, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital again, and
I knew that was going on. So what's happening for you right now?
Right now, I feel pretty good. I feel like I have a hunger in my body. I feel more. I don't know. Just talking to you, I feel a little bit more focused. Not really focused, but intuitively connected to the earth.
You want to get some juice and something to eat? I can wait for you.
Yeah, I got this water right here.
Why don't you stuff something in your mouth and chew on it like a piece of meat? You got a piece of meat in the refrigerator?
No, I got some bananas. I think banana would be good.
All right.
You want me to eat a steak?
Yeah, I want a greasy, fat ass,
Uh,
but go get a banana. I guess I'll wait.
all right.
Banana. Anything with some substance?
Banana has potassium. Banana's got carbohydrate. It's got all kinds of good stuff in it. Everybody, why now you sound like everybody else.
And get
Don't
to
eat a smoothie. It's not food. You gotta eat something solid.
burrito.
Sounds like oatmeal now.
Oh, that's good.
Are you on the phone? Are you with him still? Oh, good. No, it's your session.
He hears everything. He hears everything.
That's
When he was
true.
awake. Oh, you gotta go? Okay, bye. Oh, man. Where's your kiss? I'm standing my ground. No kiss this morning. You're actually leaving for real? All right. Well, you have a great day, baby. I'm going to go back to my session. I'm going to eat this banana. Have a good one. All righty then.
How's she doing? I haven't seen her.
She's doing good. You want to say hi to her?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. I told her that. She's like, no, it's your session. I'm like, no. Baby,
What?
you want to say hi?
What's that?
I don't know, say hi.
You have him on headphones?
Uh-huh.
Who's that?
Me. I have my about to cook hairdo.
Where's your sari and the sexy music?
The sari is in the closet. The sexy music I can't play at all the events. The Indian music.
Okay.
Some of them I can, but some of them I can't.
What was your morning like?
Restful, kind of restful. I was trying to sleep, but I couldn't. I woke up a lot last night. But it's okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's okay. I'm getting ready to get my day started now.
Do you see how there's a play of magnetism all the time? And you're always worried about who gets the energy or whether you're right or wrong or whether you're going to be punished or rewarded. Do you notice that in your brain?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's different than the flipper, right?
Very different.
Right. Flipper is wonderful because you get beyond the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem with that way is that you get beyond the whole thing and the problem festers. So to have real meditation, you have to have a platform and a springboard that surrenders to one main principle, measurable results.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
I definitely don't get that the other way.
no, but you get temporary relief. And if you have a lot of shock, which you do, then that might be the only way you can survive, is to get this experience of going out there or being out there or crystals or some bullshit. Sorry, you teach me patience. So, how's the look for real wisdom happening for you? The search.
Well, I mean, I listen to Amaji and Babaji. I've been listening to him like every night. There's something powerful about.
How about instruction, mathematical instruction? In other words, like lectures or words, not just the vibe that causes the transcendence, but teaching with this mind and this body and these behaviors and this history and this future. You see?
Uh-huh.
What
Well,
about
like, you mean like listening to his autobiography? Would that be different than vibration and like listening to that?
specific instructions? So this specific instruction is centered around the idea that there are people of extraordinary intelligence that we're having a really hard time being an apprentice to,
Mhm.
because shock doesn't do lessons, just like in Flipperland, lessons that require real teachers, real apprenticeship doesn't exist.
Okay. So like Amaji, that I'm missing something if I'm just listening to Amaji, that I'm not getting the lessons is what I'm hearing.
The psychology is getting no instruction.
Mhm,
The psychology, you need a father,
mhm.
you need a mother, you need a GPS.
Which is the steps though, right?
Well, that I'm a bridge teacher, I'm not an enlightened person. So you have to take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I'm quite infallible.
Mhm.
I'm quite fallible. So how much time do you have now to be able to receive certain instructions? For example, each tradition has a methodology of getting the GPS of enlightenment, like the Christian salvation. You accept Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior and so forth. Or let's say going to school, university, getting a good job. There's a method, right? In religion, there's a method that leads you to integrate the transcendental world with the relative world. In the New Age, there's a method to get you to the transcendental world and deny the relative world. But that won't work, because the relative world and the absolute world are the same things. So in Jesus land, just to speak about the goodness of these different paths, you have this person and this teaching, good moral, ethical, sexual reasons for behavior. But this person substitutes themselves for you. Now, that's not me and that's not Anthony, because we don't have the power for that. But maybe some amazing individual, I don't know. If there's no Yoda, then I guess there can't be an amazing individual. In the Christian faith, you have this Jesus. In your faith from India, you've got the Sikh. For me, it's my faith, because I like them all. All right, so now there's this other person, but the other person, when they speak, you get the vibe, but you get specific instruction, such as, is there a Sikh temple on Kauai? Go to the Sikh temple. Such as, is there a teaching in the Guru Granth Sahib, the scriptures of Sikhism, that is very poignant and can help your physical life? Post that in your room. So we're always trying to get out of the relative world through some cookie, some object, some progression of business or something. And it'll never work. Opiate's not going to work. That method is doomed to failure. Only if you have the experience of the outside world on the inside and you're teachable to specific words of instruction by qualified mentors can you begin to have this conduition going on like a pipe of life, so that your processing speed increases. So the whole thing in the mind is that the only thing I'll accept is if I get what I want.
Hmm.
Well, let me let you know what you want. You want mental healing, and you want physical healing, and you want mystical perception. That's what you want. You think you want to sell more samosas and have enough money to be able to take a trip to see Katrina and Crestone. You think you want to have enough money for doing certain things, go on a cruise or something else. But that's not actually, it's not going to work. The whole paradigm of your mind thinking that it's going to be rudely interrupted. Because as you get older, it's obvious that who you are is this person inside, and this person inside has to become clear. Okay. So once again, now what kind of a scripture list could you put together that would allow you to feel the darshan, but now in terms of words? Darshan is like the sun on your face. It's meeting a star, the best star in Hollywood, and the vibe is amazing, the personal magnetism. So you can get that energy, but if you get that energy like a cookie, then it's still just a bite of food that you're going to use to try to facilitate your agenda. I want the agenda to be to improve our psyches.
All right, I'm back. I had my bananas.
Okay.
He's back. That was my time. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'll write some stuff down and come up with some things are coming to me, but I'll talk to you about it next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Maybe
Bye. Bye.
I think there was water in the fridge. I put a towel over there. A small fridge for some reason. Just so you know.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. All right, I had 2 bananas, not one. It's about 140 calories. It's good enough for a little morning break.
Yes.
Yeah, according to this, the DNA renews itself every 2 months. The skin rebuilds itself every month. The blood, 4 months. The brain every year, a new brain. Technically, every tissue.
The material of the brain renews every year. So where does the energetic information come to renew the same brain with the same memories? It comes from the field of magnetism.
So you are influencing that with the meditation.
Of course.
So then the new brain would be different because it'd be a year of meditation as opposed to a year of distraction. And
that's hard science. So therefore the stuck on go and the being in charge is the enemy of the evolution of the human psyche. Because there's no time to feel your personal reality of life.
So that's what's developed my brain over all these years. If it changes every year, that means when I was 5, then when I was 6, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
And so would that be an accumulation then? If it's an accumulation, then damn, that's a lot.
Yes. And what else does it say about the bones and about whatever else?
Yeah, it's the liver is 6 weeks, it rebuilds itself. The stomach lining.
The new liver every 6 weeks. It's a new stomach lining every 5 days, I think.
Yeah, and then your bones, a new skeletal every 3 months. That's crazy.
Every 3 months there's a new skeleton. So what's creating the same skeleton?
Yeah, it's the same traumas probably over and over, the same energy chest, the same distracted.
It's the same as a credit card. The credit card takes out info and money and puts info and money. Or it's the same as a chip. I've got hard drives that have thousands of the most advanced, best science and movies and everything on them. And it's just like a little chip. So you can transfer, that's E equals MC squared. You can transfer energy into a material basis, a lot of energy into a small amount of material, and you can transfer a small amount of material into a large amount of energy. So energy and matter and light are interchangeable. Okay. Now, if the cell is programmed by electromagnetic signals and chemical signals, what is before the sperm? What's before the egg? What's before the thought? What's before the being stuck on go? Lack of teachability means that you have to be the one in charge. And that is the problem that we have. Now, the next problem I would say we have is admitting that you're not in charge. And, like if you go to talk to Putin to tell him I call him Putin, tell him to stop bombing or whatever, maybe you're not in charge. Maybe you have no influence. You can't, I probably wouldn't, right? So that's harder for me, is to recognize I'm not in charge. I'm not the one that knows so much and everything. So it's an idea. Life is a bunch of ideas that become subconscious belief that influence physical body. And what I would say, contrary, I'm sorry, to Peter, would be you can develop more influence. As far as healing your bones, I don't know about that shit. I wouldn't dare go there because that looks like some serious miracle land. To heal those bones, to loosen up, I wouldn't dare say that you can heal your bones. That's the same thing because probably not, is what my guess is. Sorry. But same thing, it's hard to be doubtful. But, you're going to have some serious, and nothing's worked so much with all your hope. If you have an arm cut off, you can have a lot of faith to grow the arm. But to grow the arm, man, that's a miracle land that I have no ability about. Give me a migraine headache. Give me a hunger problem, maybe. Give me a lack of vitality in your sexuality. Give me heart problem, general heart problem, whatever. Yeah, I might be confident. I won't say anything, but I might be confident being able to heal that stuff. But fused bones, now you're talking about influence in material. So if I was in your situation with those bones, I would be, how can I accept this as my circumstance till I die? That's what I would be doing, because in that is the only hope for some extraordinary miracle anyway. But in the meantime, all of this over blooming hope and false hope and new age bullshit promises like that guy, that's going to make you die early. That's for sure. Because you're like a sunflower blooming so much with hope that you suck up your own roots.
Well, see, I think that Peter's the whole thing precedes any fusion. He does not. It's all people that got sick that never got fusions.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if the DNA is influenced by what we think,
right,
and we think, negative stuff, for some reason, people with AS, it does cause their immune system to go wacko even more, like high stress.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I just want the idea that's hard for me to face right now is that I don't have control. I don't have the answer. I don't know. And that would mean that I'm wrong in a lot of areas, like in judging Peter about all that.
So that's what the sages say when they talk about, like, when they fill a glass with water.
Right.
They want you to empty the glass or have an empty glass.
They empty glass, yeah. Shoshin in Zen, which relates to Sanskrit. All the Eastern traditions came from Sanskrit. Shoshin is beginner's mind. It's terrible to have a beginner's mind because no matter how much you know, you really have to not know.
Yeah, I listened to some of that Shoshin Zen, whatever you sent, and I was like, is this guy contradicting himself every 10 seconds, or I just can't comprehend what the hell he's saying?
Probably both, I'm sure.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's like way over my head.
That's the best-selling book on Buddhism ever in print.
Yeah, people understand that stuff, huh?
Oh, that's milk for me, or meat.
Yeah, I mean, it's powerful. It's like really like talking about spaciousness creating.
Zen mind, beginner's mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's like God. It's so.
I've listened to that hundreds of times.
It diffuses this stuff up here, like, it's like.
Well, that's what a Zen koan is about. Oof. So this is one of the main things I'm trying to teach all the time to us, and that is that cognition is not capable of experiencing the mystery. So you're going to have to be quiet, not think quiet, or me. So a koan in Zen, they're famous koans. What's the sound of one hand clapping? If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? I mean, logically, the first one is better with Zen. What's the sound of one hand clapping? It makes no sense. But I came up with the best Zen koan that there is. What time was it? That's the best Zen koan ever created, and yours truly created. You think about what time was it? So I ask you, if I was the Zen master, and I was ordained Zen monk, you're given a koan. They get different kind of koans. The most famous, what's the sound of one hand clapping? And then you're supposed to go think about that. So you think about that for, a week, and you come back with your answers. And I can tell from your mode whether you know what the heck I was trying to do or not. By your answer. So the idea, Garchen Rinpoche said yesterday, conceptualization is samsara. Blew my mind. I said to Lena, what? So samsara is illusion. And Garchen said yesterday, he was on live this morning, by the way. He said, it must be middle of the night for you when he's live. Conceptualization is samsara. Wow. So this person is the last of the great true Tibetan yogis. When he's gone and the other older ones are gone, there's nobody to replace them because nobody that has that level of experience, -40, no clothes, melting snow, millions and millions of mantras, moral, ethical, sexual purity to the health. There's no way to understand it. But he said yesterday, conceptualization is samsara. What? So that's what Zen is trying to do. Stop this conceptualization, grasping towards understanding all the time. Stop. And never make me the authority or her the authority or him the authority. Only make a real master of life the authority. That's the only thing you can cling to and defend yourself with. So what's the sound of one hand clapping? Or the best Zen koan created in history? What time was it? That's great. So that's to have you get beyond conceptualization. You see? So what's before conceptualization? You got to stop being stuck. We got to stop being stuck on go.
We just observe.
I have no idea. No idea. Hopeless. Totally hopeless.
So is it concept, does that go hand in hand with like labeling things too?
Yeah. Conceptualization is any idea. So gardening, that's the only answer I have. Go into the garden and plant the food and sweep the floor, cleaning your house, listening to your spouse, surrender to not knowing anything, to being confused, having a problem. Maybe then you could become an apprentice. An apprentice means the light shining through you and you're just obeying instructions. That's the best you could do. All right, let's go to the master now because I don't have any understanding anymore. Video's off. Babaji, Babaji. Let's see. All right, let's try the Guru of the Beatles. I'll put on the screen sharing.
Thank you very much, Marcia, for the very beautiful and terrorist attack. Certainly a grand. She used such an.
I'm offering and inviting every nation to rise to invincibility. Invincibility is a field now I'm tackling. There was a time 50 years ago when I started to indicate the transcendental field of reality. Transcendental field of reality, which
a lot of the songs that the Beatles wrote were written under the influence of this guy.
But now I'm talking of the practical influence of this transcendental field into every aspect of the relative field of
nasal
daily
airflow,
life.
longer breath. That's the rule of the game
This
here.
is an
Heavier
advancement.
body, touching the
This
earth
is
more.
the achievement of the global
in touch with the sensual reality of life, the
of my
feeling
going,
of birds and animals and
that from one man
soil
to one
and
man,
stars.
one man to one man for the 50 years. Now the accumulated effect of coherence created by those individuals in their individual life here, there, and everywhere, now has purified globally the collective consciousness of the world. And now we are offering to further purify, one more step ahead. And that we say, that level of purity which will never be challenged by anyone. And that we say invincibility. Invincibility to every nation on the basis of invincibility to every individual, because individual is the unit of his nation. And invincibility to the individual is on that level of the unified field, for which no more testing is necessary. It's all proven through mathematical calculation, through the technology, proven by mathematical formula. So this is the time that the ultimate reality of life can be technically harnessed.
Conscious sleeping is meditation.
by
So
the
just go to sleep,
simple
but
mind
stay awake and be
of
receptive to both
anyone.
some mentor type and nature. Both of these things are pivotal for
Simple
psychological
mind of
maturation.
anyone diving into the transcendent. This is practicing
It's like getting a massage. Let it all work
and
on you.
coming to a level where it is self-referral. It is on its own. Nothing can reach it. Nothing can disturb it. Nothing can shake it. Nothing can shadow it. That is why that is the eternal field of invincibility, directly available through experience, direct experience. And to give this experience to everyone, now we want to be generous and we want to put it in the curriculum of the schools and colleges and universities, for which we are starting universities of world peace, universities of world peace.
I was a head of security
So
for
that
his
the
major retreat center in
next
USA
generation
in
of
2000.
youth will have
He
that
passed away in
awareness of
2008. So of
total
course it was
knowledge,
long after the
which will be
Beatles time.
absolutely unshakable from any situation from outside. That means the individual will be no more what you call a slave of situations and circumstances. Every individual will be master of his area of concern. There is a word, I fight, you see. And there are two divisions in seeing. One is called short sight. Short-sighted. He can only see so much and not so much. He can only see, he is short-sighted. He can only see so much. And he is long-sighted. He can see much longer than those who are short-sighted. In the same way, everyone likes to be self-sufficient. Everyone likes to be undisturbable by others, but some would like to be undisturbable at a certain level. And beyond that level, they give up. They surrender. They are captured. They are captured. They are captured. What we are talking is a level of intelligence which is so much on its own that it cannot be captured by anything. It is invincible, and that is the essential nature of the unified field within the self-referral consciousness of everyone, which Dr. Hagelin has so beautifully, scientifically, convincingly, simply, naturally has stated. It's a natural state, it's a natural state, it's a natural state. And therefore, when we are offering invincibility to every nation, what we are offering, nothing new, nothing strange. We are offering the natural status to everyone. And what we are offering, we are not bringing any new offer to him. We are only reminding him. We are only putting to his memory that look here, here you are. From where? Everything is a possibility. Intellectually we tell them, experientially we make them dive into that field. But here you are, and here you are beyond any reach of boundary, and therefore it is right to say you have stepped on to the field of invincibility, and that religions enjoy to be in the light of God, scientists enjoy to be in the unified field, and Vedic scientists enjoy to be self-referral consciousness. Something very natural. So education is just an instrument or a system of reminding a person about his own inner characteristic quality. His own inner characteristic quality is unified field without boundaries on that level of invincibility. Invincibility, invincibility. All the various structures of goodwill and all the they were meaningful on the effort-making level so far for the centuries, and now they will be meaningful not on the effort-making, not on the level of hope, but on the level of practical realization of that thing which cannot be disturbed, which cannot be dismantled, which cannot be shadowed by anything, which is invincibility. The field, unified field, the simple field, light of God, the simple field, self-referral consciousness. So the whole thing is very, very simple. Whole thing is very, very simple. Whole thing is very, very simple. Just to remind a man that this is his real self. This is his reality, which is invincibility. Invincibility. It's a beautiful area. All our children will enjoy being master of their own destiny, you know. It won't be very long now because the system of communication is so efficient. It takes us from remaining in one place, it takes us throughout the world, in a moment throughout the world, in a moment throughout the world. And that is the field of instant communication, peaceful communication, peaceful governing system in the field of government. Tell them you speak so clearly about
The practice of self-inquiry is one of the most advanced methods of self-healing and control over our biochemistry, or influence over our biochemistry. That is the whole idea of remembering my body, my car, my living space, my relationship, my future, my past. Just going through it, going through the my's, and realizing who you are. If the my is different than my banana, my digestion, if who you are is in observation of your digestion, when you say my digestion, then get back to the my thoughts. There's a dance between darshaning, and naturalizing. Darshaning is some kind of Plato type person, Socrates type person. To not be in relationship with those is the greatest failure of the human ego and individual, because it thinks that there's actually not anybody in the whole world smarter than it. And that's not what you want to do with your life. So if you realize that, oh, I could get the Plato book, My Republic, and benefit from that, or words of somebody, Emerson, something, there's thousands of options. And you can find your way. Maybe that clip was interesting, and it was interesting that he was the guru for the Beatles, that they wrote a lot of their songs, and he was their main influence. Maybe that's interesting. Well, once you calm down enough, you can begin to see my digestion, and you could see my thoughts. You could see my emotions. You know, you say yourself, my emotion, my emotional feeling. Well, you realize that there's a difference between you and your emotion, between you and your digestion. Of course, they're integrated and they communicate, but you are defining and talking about your digestion. All right. So when you have mental silence and you know you're not your thoughts, your ability to influence brain chemistry improves. Psychologists, psychiatrists say that brain chemistry and biochemistry doesn't change. That's a scientific falsity. That's not true. The science says it does change. Hard science. Not only that, but every thought you have changes your biochemistry in every aspect on subtle levels. If two teams play and one team wins, two male teams, the team that wins, their testosterone levels go up. The team that loses, their testosterone level goes down. Testosterone is not a bad thing. Testosterone is a good thing. You just have to utilize it properly, not utilize it for anger and so forth, wrong anger, wrong desires, but utilize it for the activation of your digestion, for example. Any kind of empowerment, it's a good thing. All right, as long as you're the observer, you can pull your own strings a little better. Now, right now, you can change your hormones. You can change your digestive chemistry. You can. I don't know if you will, but you can. You can change your thoughts. You could think anything you want to think right now. You are sovereign in your ability to choose your emotion. You can influence your emotional feeling. You could choose to feel loved and supported and relieved right now. Now, what would that do to your biochemistry? It would help it. So the process of self-healing is accentuated by lots of different methods. This method of self-inquiry comes from Sanskrit, oldest language and religion in the world. That's a good one. Another one from Zen is what's called a koan. Remember, of course, we mentioned it before. Now you just contemplate a koan. That's a method. What time was it? Actually follow directions and think, what time was it? Of course, that makes no sense. So maybe you'll become still and realize there's a difference between you and your thoughts. But if you're in obsessive, compulsive, frenetic thinking that doesn't stop and there's no mental silence, then you cannot realize these things. Another method is images. If you remember right now a favorite scene in childhood, that could help you experience the inner world of what Maharishi Mahesh Yogi said, the invincible state, the observer that doesn't have a gaining idea. Of course, if you can tap that, then you're receptive, and now nature's going to stream in. You're no longer trying to defense mechanism your way out of people, places, and things. You're right here where you are, and you're accepting this relationship, this moment, this cosmos, this yard, this set of circumstances. So first you have to get support. So grace is more important than law. Support is more important than relief. They dance together, just like a teacher and nature dances together to produce an improved biochemistry. Grace being more important than law, meaning unconditional love. If you remember a favorite scene in childhood now and experience a sensory, rich moment, the sound of the water, the sway of the trees, the sound of the grandfather's voice, so forth. The grandfather for you was a very important person in your life. So you can go back to these things and go from thinking to feeling. Slow down more. Why? Because that's the deepest repair mode of the body. Super slow rhythms. Sweet taste in the mouth, hormonal secretions, hungry and horny. More, 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 without spending it on anything. Just continuing to cultivate your desire. Desire is not a bad thing like surface Buddhist teachings will teach you. That's not really what they mean. It's desire that is not purified. So you're not supposed to have no desire in the sense of not recognizing you have attractions and compulsions and you have sexual feelings and you have hunger feelings. It's not to eliminate these things, then you become anemic. It's to cultivate the pure desire of life, the magnetic longing of the universe that's evolving the human genome, to let it move through you to create incredible desire and magnetic energy, but to use it for purification and to understand the congruent relationship between beliefs and behaviors and not believe one thing and do other things. So you're supposed to have desire, but you use desire all into one laser-like focus for your own healing. Another meditative method to get you going is nature. And maybe that's your primary method. So nature and mentor dance together because the mentor will release your mind so that you can see in nature, perceive the nature and bring it into your tissues, because you have issues in your tissues, right? Your biological biography has unmet needs. Your physical body has unmet needs. Your psyche has unmet needs. And you need to become so quiet, so still, that all the personalities in your life become part of the mosaic of your healing, not something you're trying to understand all the time. You become receptive to them. So when mentor has its effect, nature has its effect, but it goes back and forth. You could have nature first, then mentor, but ultimately mentor is the most powerful. And that means these Plato types, so forth. Now you could be nourished by the volcano near you. You could be nourished by the sea that's near you. You could be nourished by the animals that are near you. You could be nourished by the soil, and you could set out an outline for a garden today. All you got to do is outline the garden. It's probably rich soil. It's Hawaii. And then you got to throw a bunch of seeds in there. That's all. It's not too complicated. Maybe if you dig up the grass to make it so, that might be more difficult. Maybe you need help with that. But either way, it's not that complicated. Now you have mud on your feet. You have to be outside barefoot. You have to smell the ocean. You have to see the twinkling stars, rustling leaves, crackling fires, flowing waters, and believe in the inner journey. Don't let anybody trick you into believing that the outer journey is more important. That's a lie from the pit of hell. It's not real. No matter what, don't believe that. It doesn't end well. All the religions, all the enlightenment systems say God is the ultimate, and the stimulation of desire and ecstasy and joy is the power of creation. So your meditation has to go from thinking to feeling, and it's got to become touchy-feely. There must be tender emotion. Make long sounds to help you as well. That's another little technique. Say with me, shh. How much longer can you make your rhythms? There's all kinds of traditions, all kinds of options. You can dance between these different options. You can use biofeedback, self-help. The most important thing is that your whole life becomes this, because the inner journey will eventually eclipse the outer journey. And the only thing you're taking with you is what you are in your psyche and your soul. And it's common sense that there's a continuation, in my opinion. So who you are now and what's going on now is what you're going to be with forever, unless you transform it and change it. And that primarily is your psyche. So don't worry for a little bit longer here and just try to find some type of meditation if you can. There's a Tibetan option. You can look at your screen.
And so even if you were to look in the billion-fold universe for what is a Buddha, you wouldn't really find one, because what's the ultimate Buddha? The ultimate actual Buddha can only be found in your own mind, by looking at your own mind. The true nature of your mind is the Buddha, and that is what we call the Dharmakaya. So for meditation, we speak about...
Or when Jesus was asked, who are you? In the Bible, he says, I am that.
The realization that is untouched by the three great ones, that is the
So it's kind of like the observer that's unchangeable. It's your union with God inside of yourself, and your union with nature inside of yourself. You have to feel it, not so much look out at it, but receive the sight, receive the sound.
Actually, Longshan Rabjam had said that once you have realized the nature of the mind, there is no higher learning than that. So what we need to do is look at the mind. And so generally we speak about shamatha and vipassana. Shamatha, or calm abiding, is the thought-free mind. It is when you meditate and all past thoughts have stopped and no future thoughts have yet arisen. And there is a consciousness that recognizes whatever present thought arises in the mind. And then when this is sustained single pointedly, the mind becomes completely empty of thoughts. And that is when you see the true nature of the mind, when you experience the mind is like space. And then when you experience that, then you know that this mind itself pervades all of samsara and nirvana. It's the basis of samsara and nirvana. So that is what we call the Dharmakaya. And so this, or Buddha. And so this term Buddha or Sangye in Tibetan means, Sang means to have cleared away all grasping. There's not a single grasping thought in the mind. And Gye means vast or expansive. So when there is no grasping, then the mind becomes vast like space. And so what obscures this seeing of the nature of the mind is basically the doubts that we have. Even if we have no thought in the mind, then sometimes no particular thought, there's still all kinds of like doubts, not knowing if it's really this or that arising in the mind. And so basically what we call obscuration really is the doubts in our mind. So then Vipassana, the special insight is to actually see the nature of the mind. So you look at a thought-free mind over and over again. Also sometimes when you cultivate great compassion for sentient beings or devotion to the guru, your mind becomes completely clear of all obscurations and you see the mind. For example, when great compassion for sentient beings arises, then you do not grasp at a self and you see the clear nature of the mind. Or sometimes when great devotion for the guru arises, when you see all as the Buddha and there is no dualistic thought in the mind.
Touch your tongue to the roof of your mouth and kind of like cleaving to your tongue when you're really thirsty or something, cleaving to the roof of your mouth. Try to bring the energy down from excessive thought and feel into your body more, feel into the earth more and nature more. Tangible, sensual experience. This is the download, which is the first part of any meditation system, including science.
And when you experience the mind, you can't express it. It is inexpressible. It is beyond words and thoughts. So it can neither said to be existing, nor can it said to be non-existing. It lacks inherent existence. But you can experience it directly by looking at the mind single-pointedly. And then what is a sign of having seen the nature of the mind? A sign is that you feel extremely happy. You're very joyful. You naturally feel blissful and happy. And that is because the natural state of Dharmakaya is blissful. And so when you know how to truly view your true nature, then all these thoughts disappear and you experience great joy and great happiness. But then often what happens is that we become attached to this joy. So don't become attached to this joy. But look at the essence of it. Look at the essence of bliss. And then the empty essence of bliss will appear. And then the mind becomes like space. And so this is when it is that you realize the view, the nature of the mind. This is when you see your own mind as the Dharmakaya. So it is at the moment, for example, when you see the empty nature of bliss, that all of a sudden there is this natural experience of just knowing that this is it. This is your true nature, and this is what is called, resolving or deciding, realizing the view. And generally, we always speak about 3 occasions when we can see the nature of the mind naturally. But in any case, in the Ganges Mahamudra, for example, it says, a single lamp flame dispels the darkness that has lasted for billions of thousands of aeons. So even though we have accumulated habitual karmic imprints since beginningless time, a single seeing of mind's nature through the power of your own Buddha nature that is there underlying, all of these imprints are cleared away in an instant, and you see the Buddha. So this is how we gradually attain the state of Buddhahood, and it's nothing else really. It is just to see that your own mind is Buddha. So for that, you have to look at your mind. And even though much can be said about the various stages of the path of practice, but really what it comes down to is looking at your mind. And when you look at your mind and see your mind without any thoughts, this is the first recognition of your natural state. And then you need to continue on within this state, like an ongoing state. Okay.
拉玛达拉去参接生，这个都不能叫拉生，你这是我说的。拉玛达拉去参接生，这个吧，这个跟西方你我有的，这个东大清的你，拉玛达让个，压了这把汤吃了这把，这个 야라스요 리스는 대반인 결과를 말하리비 라마가 두기 사치보이스 조치보이스 로마가 뭘 사치보이스 대소만 이 대회는 가리를 되나 산디에 농보치보다 그래 라마도 로마에 농보치 약간이지 약간을 메도지 요레스 파트를 라마다라니 카카레스 저한테 선 대식 뭐지 산디에 대식 뭐는 누가 영어 차들 무엇이 마시면서 농보치가 약간으로 마음에도 마사와트 스이스가 누가를 소요에 대해서냐 네 깝들이고서 유모가 무고도 심하지는 초승만 막도 이제 너무 싸와리 누가 사지리 나 사지 대신에 차별이 생기 차별이 저리 야 축구를 하고 싶은 남성들이 상대의 차별 상대시 봐 상대 예 잡서 막 잡서 잡으면 축구 남 갔다 송지 그래서 답답하지만 뭔가 작성자가 송지 다 라마도 상대 당신 상대에서 리트를 하고 가을에 자다지면 다니면서 라마틱에 또 요래 라마다 또 사적성 남아니 하고 또는 라마틱에 니디요 말이지 라마다 보면 상대에다 라마는 그 셈이 가까이 면서 봐서 요 말이 뭐마 될래는더니 뭐마 될라는 셈이야가 내가 또마도 얼마도 셈도 각한 말이 해서 하고 요래 라마틱으로 로마다나 셈 예미가 하고 요래 라마다 로마나 상대에서 한서들 이따와 하고는 때 고아를 누구한테 생내로 돌려오는데 이 셈좀 탐체도 잡아더니 남가다가 끝이 샤운 거래 이 샤운 가면이 라마를 지나면 사진을 지나면 사진이 들어가는 라마 상된 좀 탐체 상승들이 저거 남가다가 뒤에라 끝만 내고 들이 같이 있는 내용을 요래 공짜적 내용은 이제가 다 또는 공내这里的模型了，那个那做早还出上，等着这地方讨论是个了，这个他说这看到东西全上사람 거를 밭에 이제 말하리 밭에 이제 돈이 이제 산항시 발라 사람이를 밤자라고 나그 몸 잡니 몸이 나는 우리 sempre tamo chashi 되잖아. 담을 담을 듣지. 너무 통과. 그래 나도 사주는 저기 나도 사는 밤에 와서 프로젝트부터 고생 니들이 따라 마신 사제수 좀 마세. 혼이 탐색하고 해서 봐래. 그래도 말을 제발을 했었다. 거기서 뭐는 이때도 고참을 제 고알수 받다가 라마다나 제 사제에서 특히 이시기야 되기 좀 그러지.
So then that's the first realization. And then when you continue to rest within this place, you continue on within this recognition, then a second realization arises. And this is when then this feeling of bliss arises from continuing on in that state. And that is when you again recognize the true nature of the mind. And so then you, over and over again, you habituate to it. So what we call meditation is not something that you meditate upon, but meditation means actually to habituate. Just sit there, like kind of pretending to meditate, that's of no benefit. You have to actually habituate the seeing of the nature of the mind. And so, as Jigten Sumgön had said, I am a yogin who realized my own mind, the Buddha's mind and the Guru's mind to be one. So it's important that you gain a certainty in that.
Video's on. Each person has all kinds of different things that'll work, and when something works now, it might not work later. You know, who wants to listen to a guy sitting there going like this and making faces? Some people don't want that. You know, maybe you want to go to the gym. Okay, you go to the gym and do this 10 times. Maybe you want to, I don't know, there has to be something, right? But if training itself, the outer search for this catalyst, eclipses receiving grace in meditation, then nothing you do is ever going to work. So that's why moving through your problems is secondary to just being given some good words. The Bible says faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Okay, you could say the word of a good quote if you want, if you don't believe in God, you know, but whatever it is, something as an external authority. That's the problem. We don't do external authority. When you submit to external authority, the mosaic of informational magnetism becomes available to you. That's a genius. You become a conduit. So, like what the Bible is saying is that your faith is going to be restored when you have enough good words. Now, to understand what good words work for you, your job assigned to you by life is to find out what you resonate with in terms of you being taught wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom books out there. Okay. So if you just press play on the Garchin, maybe it's going to help. And then you can go outside and stand on the grass and define a garden, or just enjoy the nature's elements or something. All of it is dependent upon the first teaching. Every enlightenment system says first enter into within you. Jesus said that. Everybody says that. So you find this internal world with longer rhythms as your primary duty of today, to just slow it down and to be subject to everyone, everywhere, everything, because you're the one that's transparent. Doing this, your brain gets the washing. You find your belly button. That's where you receive nourishment first. In the ancient teachings of the inner disciplines of Chinese medicine, which come from Ayurveda, Indian, East Indian teaching, there's a component, like in quantum field theory, of the observer having an influence to what they would say in Qigong, embryonic breathing, meaning that you're receiving from your center again. So you can receive informational magnetism, not just here. First, it's here. Then there's brainstem convergence. Then there's Amrita, golden pollen, sweet taste in the mouth, hormonal saliva, and it goes down. When you land right where you are, you know, on vacation, you go over there to land, right? Why don't you land here? Land right now. You don't need to go anywhere. Nothing needs to change. You could practice that now of landing. And if you do, and you develop a lot more magnetism in your feet magnetism, feeling of connectedness, rootedness, groundedness, practicality, that can augment this rest that needs to happen to release the subconscious images that are torturing your mind. The body is after that. If you can see the psychological relationship with the physical pain, you can deal with it better. Or physical weakness. But you got to start over in revealing what's underneath there. What's underneath the mind is the body. What's underneath the brain is the body. And to feel into your body, the sensual experience of feeling into your body is difficult, because the Guru of the Beatles put it this way. It's like you can breathe underwater and you're sinking down into more relaxation in the water, but you're able to breathe underwater. But you can't keep on going because there's bubbles and they're stuck in these places of your body mind, and you can't relax to a deeper depth of silence and stillness. The human mind, human experience is exactly like that. If you find your true self, you find yourself to be oceanic and very still in your depths already. It's already true. In doing that, you can respond to these circumstances of past, present, future body, just like the surface of consciousness and ocean meets the winds. So you can set everybody back to themselves. You can return the world and everybody back to themselves, so they don't have the hook in you and you don't have a hook in them. And you could see what's above you. If you're just in with relationship with the other person here and there and here and there, and there's no sky, no earth, there's nothing above in intelligence, there's nothing below, there's no ants and there's no geniuses, then you're trying to be too static. So there's a changes in the air once you're submitted to the air. It's a very great challenge to start over all the time and to not know and to have things to work on in yourself. It's such a challenge for me. It's like impossible. But I've devoted some bit of life, and I'd like to understand how to devote more to just realizing I ain't got it right. I don't understand. I'm confused and I have a problem and I need your help. That's the master. You remember the push hands?
Mhm.
That's the master, adapting to change all the time. But the basis of that is that I don't know and I need guidance and education. And that's the one thing nobody does. Everybody creates this static relationship of you, the subject, and then the object of the other person or the whatever over there. But if you come back to these lessons and you come back to the surrender, the first step will facilitate all the other steps. I mean, what are you afraid of or sad about? What don't you know about? What do you do wrong? How come you can't change your behavior? There's plenty of areas where you can't change. Does anybody even talk about that? It's true for you. It's true for me. It's true for her. And it's true for him. Why doesn't that unfortunate state be part of ordinary communication? I remember when I was doing the 4th of July and the mayor was there and I was in charge and it was a whole panel of people and I was telling everybody what to do. And I made a statement. I said, I realized something. This is not about the 4th of July. This is about everybody's individual ego being heard. Because it seemed like everybody wanted to do something different than the other person. It wasn't a collective, that's like government. It's more important that the person has their voice heard than anything, than the policy. But if they're right, and it's obviously a moral thing, now they can really have their voice heard. So actually, people are just such little egos and little starving things that I realized that it's not making the best 4th of July that's what's going on here. It's everybody wants to be the champion in charge. Everybody wants it to be about them. It's not the project. That's why a child in a relationship could be a good thing, I can imagine, or a pet. Because it's a third cause. It's not you and them anymore. It's a purpose. So why don't you make the purpose scientific enlightenment in who you're talking to? That's the purpose of what you're talking about. And isolate it to that purpose only. Then you don't know about it and you're not right. And they don't know about it, they're not right. So you can both build the house. So it's your responsibility to make relationship that. Not about supporting her or her supporting you. That's not the main thing. The main thing is supporting each other in the way of how are we going to have devotional time together? The only life that you are offered is a devotional life. And when it's about the upgrading of the human genome and the legacy that you'll give and that you're putting out right now in your vibe, then that's more important than whether you're right or she's right or he's right or whether you have a problem or she has a problem. That's what God's all about. That's what nature's all about. You play second fiddle. All of life is about being able to play second fiddle. That's the entire lesson. Because you're not the air. You're not the sky. You're not the guru, not in your conscious mind. You're not the enlightened one. Maybe in some secret recesses of your person, you're the special one and you're enjoying with God. Okay, that's great. But keep that to yourself because you're talking to a little petty ego here. So it's hard to communicate from that place. And if you do have contact with that place, it makes no sense to try to talk about it to anybody because nobody's going to understand it. And the exposure that you cause a lot of trouble. So titration is a word in chemistry. It means just give a little bit of what you can give. And really, it's about basic needs. The Tao Te Ching says the enlightened person calms minds and feeds bellies. Yeah, just put a piece of food in their mouth. That's all. You don't need to convince or be right or be wrong. No, just do your part by putting a piece of food in their mouth. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But that doesn't make her more right than you or something, you know. This is just about you. The whole universe is a big mosaic movie picture to try to teach you how to be happy and healthy and wealthy in every sense of the word. Heaven on earth. Where's it going to be? It's going to be over there. Even if you go over there, if it's not here, it's not going to be over there. What you are in your human psyche is the only thing that there is to face with all of its heavens and hells. And these are the cycles of evolution. And you can turbo process right now if you become super still. Not oppressive stillness, natural stillness. And just go one step further today in your own healing. One new surrender. One new insight. No end in sight, no healing, no completion possible. Give it up. All right, well, then I'll just do the best I can do by being a little bit more surrendered towards what they say in Sanskrit, the Atma, the one soul. Hopi said it was the individualized soul. No, that's the Atman. The Atma is the one soul. That means, like the Bible says, we're all parts of one body. You're a hand and I'm a hand, left and right and left. It switches around. Buddhism says the reality of interdependence. The Bible says one body, the body of the church. So that's the truth of like the human organism. If the human organism is under assault, like Reagan said, or Carter, I forget, I think Reagan, the aliens come, all of a sudden everybody be together. No problem, no more wars between each other. So realize that you're one with the universe, really. I mean, and that might be a bit difficult, but feel in your body the stars. Try that one for a minute. All the enlightenment systems talk about contemplating nature in the body. You feel nature in the body. So where do you want to feel it? Do you want to put a flower on your skin? That's a great example to get started. Do you want to put mud on your head? Okay. If I was you, I'd put mud all over my body. I'd go outside and I'd rub mud all over me. If I had a big physical issue, that's what I should do it anyway. I try to get into it with the garden. Mudding. In Qigong, the inner teachings of Chinese medicine, which has correlates in Tibetan Buddhism and in yoga and Ayurveda, the ancient stuff, you know, it says that the center of the brain is like a mud pill. Why do they use the term mud? Because you're a heap of food and it all comes from mud. So you have a sweet taste in your mouth. That's in yoga, they call that the amrita, the sticky substance at the roof of the mouth. You get that when you're super turned on. I said to Opie, remember, you have to have that now. Not like as an idea, oh, it's happened to me 3 times. No, you need to feel it now. So they talk about the mud pill and the mud palace in Qigong, inner teachings of Zen. Mud palace is the brain. Mud the spirit valley is how the brain comes together at the bottom of the base of the brain. That becomes the mud pill. In yoga, that's the sticky substance at the roof of the mouth. You have to become hungry, mouth watering, mouth tingling, horny, stimulated by the flower petal, by the naked reality of life. Turn on, magnetic. Well, that's the mud pill at the roof of the mouth. Do you swallow that down, or Amrita? When you have a sweet taste in the mouth because you're hungry, you salivate. Then you swallow it down. Move your belly in and out 100 times right now. Move your belly in and out. This is always a part of every advanced thing too. Yoga, Tibetan Buddhism, Qigong, it's always moving the belly around and moving the belly in and out. Why? Because that's 6 layers of muscle and fat, muscle, positive electricity, fat, negative electricity. That's the center of equilibrium, the center of gravity in your body. So you've got to activate your belly button and your belly. So this happened after the darshan though. Not this first. After the darshan and you get some kind of intervention, you get some kind of energy. Faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word of God. You get some kind of good words, because good news can change everything. In 1 second, good news can clear the air. You'd be like, oh, the heck with it. I feel better now. I just got $1 million, or whatever that good news is. And then all of a sudden, now let's go eat. I want to eat. Let's go out, honey. And you tell her, and you got $1 million, so you're going to go to the nicest restaurant. Now you want to eat. No problem. What was it? Well, what about the imagination? So imagine a great moment. Faith comes by hearing, hearing by the washing of the word of the water of the word. Have a great moment. Make it happen from some scriptures. Devote your entire life. Forget about everybody else. Nobody knows a freaking clue. Not only do I not know a clue, they don't even know half a clue. Why am I worried about them? I'm not worried about them personally. So day and life, day and night, just find a way to get that moment again. Then you'll get sweet taste in the mouth. You'll get salivation going, because something happened. Some great moment happened. Maybe it was, receiving from the Garchen Rinpoche. Maybe it was the Guru of the Beatles. Something will satisfy your brain. You have to find out what it is and try again. Try again from failure. Try again from having no hope. That's all I do. No hope. I don't understand. I confess I have a problem. I need your help. I'm confused. Right there it says it. I cannot fix myself. I can't change my behavior. Step 1. It's not just me that has that unfortunate reality of life. That's you. So if that's the way it is, I guess you may as well surrender to it. Hell with it. Now you start to breathe deep, and maybe you get activated. Maybe you move your belly in and out. Can you do that? Move your belly in and out fast. Did you do 100 of them before?
I probably made it to about 50.
Yeah, I interrupted it. Okay, let's do 50 more. Go. In and out. Mine's going about this fast.
It's not easy.
You want some digestion going after you get darshan, after you get a little nature in there from the light through the windows, from the cosmos in your heart, and so forth, so forth, so forth. You get a little good words. You might have some magnetism. With that magnetism, now you want to kick ass. You want to engage conflict. Kick ass and take names. Make your belly go in and out. You have to engage conflict. It says right over there. Serious magic, miracle ingredients, miracle chamber, grounding, and grounding equals endangerment. Over here, it says the grace of the guru. Without the grace of the guru, you couldn't have happiness, success, even in a million lifetimes. To have fighting, to engage grounding is what happens after darshan. So your whole life should be surrounded with all these things. Don't quit between your head, the back of your head. What do they say in the programs? Don't quit before the miracle. My mother gave me that. million years ago. Very important to me. Remember I told you?
Yeah.
Though things go wrong as they sometimes will, and the road you're trudging seems all uphill, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Success is life turned inside out. The silver tint of the clouds are of doubt. So it might be near when it seems so far. Okay, 10 more. Okay, now let's make the sound ah. Do you notice the ah teaching? Ah is in every name of God.
Ah.
Ah is an orgasm. Ah is God. Ah is Jehovah. Ah is Buddha. Ah is Shiva. Ah is Allah. Why is it all Allah? Why is it all ah, rather? Allah is the tough one these days. That's the massive, scary disciplinarian God version. Anyway, each God really is a description of pure consciousness, the transcendental reality that functions in supercoherence. Supercoherence in science, called Meissner magnetism. It's when your digestion is healed. It has a magnetic signature that's coherent. So if the right side of your brain and the left side of your brain are coherent, that is brain health. If your brain and your heart are coherent, heart wave and brain wave coherence, then the hormonal balance in your body is going to improve. So magnetism and entrainment of magnetic frequencies influence glandular secretions. All right. Ah is the name everybody says for God. Why? Aha, insight moment. It's because it's the release, it's the profound realization, it's the aha moment. All right, so let's do some ah. You ready? Ah. Sounding is a weird thing, but it's part of every system. Ah. Cymatics. You should look at cymatics. Look up cymatics.
Aloha.
Yes. Again.
Ah.
Longer.
Ah.
Longer. Fight, struggle, effort. Make it longer. Good. Inhale. Remember, I was teaching the trainers Olympic ski team, and the lady with severe MS came in there, and they all yelled at me. I was giving her too much attention, and I told the rest of the class, "Oh, you don't know that she is the class? You can get out. This is my class, not yours." In 3 weeks, the lady with MS with hands like this, limbs straightened out. Once again, I am too busy to worry about whether somebody believes me or not, or whether they want to say. So I came up with hands-on breathing during that time frame because I realized that almost everybody in the fitness industry thinks they know about breathing and they don't. Put your palms like this, and now put them on your ribs and move just your ribs. See, I can move just my ribs. Okay, do that. Move just your ribs. A lot of the yogis say breath mastery is life mastery, but it's not forced transformations of breathing. It's transformations of breathing because of drive. In step one, you're breathing into your weakness. You're breathing into the physical pain that's in your digestion, in your intestines. You're breathing into it. You're forcing, but that forcing is happening because you need to open up those pipes. What time's Opie come home?
No, we gotta go pay rent a little bit. It's rent day.
She's gonna come home first.
I don't know if she left yet. I can't tell. She might be in the yard.
Go like this. Well, maybe you can both enjoy a little bit of devotion time, maybe standing for 2 minutes on the clock. Right hand on chest, left hand on belly. Inhale, belly button goes out towards the environment. Exhale, belly button goes in. Now slow it down because you're entering step 2, which means being receptive and being given onto by environment, by life. Receive energy from the environment for everybody's sake and through everybody. So everybody gets energy as well. Longer breath. Belly button goes in on the exhale. Belly button goes out on the inhale. Diaphragm extends from the front of the body to the back of the body. The lungs are spongy material on the bottom of the diaphragm. Unless you do this kind of breathing, you don't get air into the largest parts of your lungs. The lungs are big on the bottom, small on the top. Back of your hands on the lower back. Thumbs up. Your lungs are back there too. Feel it. Don't be so presenting with your chest and your head that you forget your deep insides. The lower back expands on the inhale and compresses on the exhale. Now we're going to get into some deep stuff here.
Oh.